Welcome to the news belt of the show. In our first story, President-elect John Dramani Mahama says his office has requested a meeting with the IMF to engage on the implementation of the bailout program. Now, Ghana secured an IMF extended credit facility worth $3 billion in 2023 after the Akufo-Addo administration opened formal negotiations with the IMF 3 years ago. In an interview with the VOA, Mr. Mahama assured that his government would not cancel the IMF program signed by his predecessor.
The economy is going to be the number one focus because it affects everything else. If the economy is in a bad way, it affects education, it affects agriculture, it affects sports, it affects every sector of the country. So we're going to have to be dealing with stabilizing the economy. Unfortunately, in this circumstance, we have two major issues. One, macroeconomic stability, and two, debt sustainability. In all the other times that we've gone to the IMF, it's just been for macroeconomic stability, but we have twin problems now. And so we're going to continue the IMF program. We already have requested some discussion with the IMF because we're not part of the negotiation of this program. And so we need to look at how we can all be on the same wavelength in terms of implementing the program. We're not going to jettison the program. I want to make that clear. We're not jettisoning the program. But within the program, I'm sure that there can be some leverage for tweaking it. And so if we're able to reach that agreement, then we'll continue the program till it ends. What it means is that the budgets must align with the IMF program. So there's not much leverage in there for making the kind of radical reforms that you might immediately need to make. But we would accept the reforms that are being made under the IMF and deepen them when we have our own program after the current extended credit facility runs out.
He also reiterated his commitment to maintaining the free senior high school policy.
Free SHS has come to stay, and it is not going anywhere. Nobody is going to scrap free SHS. What was said was political talk, and it was just political gimmickry. Free SHS is not going anywhere. We're going to maintain the policy. What we're going to do is to get dedicated funding for it so that it is better resourced than it is currently. There's a lot of waste in the system. We're going to help to make it more efficient so that the teachers, the parents, and the students get the best out of the free SHS. We're going to look at the basic school level too. Because we have focused on free SHS, we are abandoning the basic level. And so the basic level is becoming a major problem. 1.3 million pupils at the basic level do not have furniture. They don't have tables and chairs to sit on. They lie on their stomachs in the classroom or sit on cement blocks. And that's because all our focus has been on the secondary school level. So we're going to hold a national education forum, and that forum is going to bring all the stakeholders together. And we're going to take a look at the whole education value chain. And we're going to come, and by consensus, all of us, it's non-partisan, everybody of every walk of life who has a stake in education is going to be at that conference. And we're going to take important decisions on how to reform our education so that the children get better quality. And so that's what we're going to look at. But the thing about me coming and scrapping free SHS was just political gimmickry by the MPP. Free SHS has come to stay. We're going to make it better. We're going to improve the quality of the food for the children.
Well, President-elect John Mahama has also indicated he will halt mining in forest reserves, promising to work with the appropriate agencies to implement the law dealing with the menace.
When this government came, they passed an LI which allowed entry into forest reserves to mine. And since the last 8 years, 37 forest reserves have been, there have been incursions into 37 forest reserves. Some have been almost completely destroyed. And so the first thing is to stop mining in forest reserves. And so we're going to work with the Minerals Commission and the Environmental Protection Agency to see how we implement the law so that it stops this poisoning of our water bodies.
Now, a leading member of the National Democratic Congress's legal team says the party cannot take the overwhelming endorsement at the polls for granted. Victor Adaudu, who monitored the just-ended elections in the Oti region for the party, says Ghanaians will not forgive them if they become arrogant and disrespectful. There's more in this report.
Victor Kwajuga Adaudu, a member of the NDC legal team who monitored the elections for the party in the Oti region, is sending a word of caution to his party and those who may form the leadership of the new but comeback NDC government not to take the nationwide massive endorsement for granted. According to him, the party must inspire hope and assurance in the interim.
We have a large and a very huge task ahead of us to do, because we cannot, and I say we cannot fail the people of Ghana. They have some trust, some hope in us, and if they see any resemblance of impunity, arrogance that has been exhibited, that we saw with power, I think that they will never forgive us. So it's a lesson we need to learn from this election.
He sends a strong signal that anyone whose hands are soiled with state money or property to brace up for accountability.
The people know that the economy is in shambles. They know we cannot take a year or a two to repair it, but what they want to see is that there is some hope, there is assurance, and people can make ends meet. That's all that I think the people are looking for now. And we need to build on the economy. But the thing is that what I can say is that if your hands are not tainted, never be afraid. Nothing will happen to you. However, if your hands are tainted, we will come. We will pursue you. We will come after you. That one, it is the money for the state. So if your hands are not tainted, go and sleep. You are free. But if your hands are tainted, we will not forgive you.
The incumbent MP, re-elected Engineer Yao Gomado, says expectations must be measured while the party works to restore lost hope.
It is all not over. We have a lot to do. This country, I see it as a country that was going astray. And this victory for both parliamentary and the presidential, I want to tell Ghanaians that we should be prepared, because we have now seen the second birth of Ghana, or the second independence of Ghana. We have a lot to go. The expectations should be slow, not to be rapid as everybody wants. We are not going to perform magic, but we'll do everything possible to bring out whatever we could as people hope and believe that Ghana should be sent back to the hands of NDC.
Peter Sanu for Joy News.
Now, for the first time in 24 years, the Esikado-Ketan constituency in the Western region has witnessed a shift. Power has changed hands from the New Patriotic Party to the National Democratic Congress. Now, many residents say they voted for the NDC because the MPP failed to develop the area. Joy News has been engaging the Member of Parliament-elect for Esikado-Ketan, Dr. Grace Ayensu Dankwa.
We're very excited. We're very happy to have won the seat. It's been a hard-fought battle, and we are glad that ultimately NDC has won this constituency, both for presidential and for parliamentary. So we are very proud of the effort we put in, and we've been congratulating ourselves. However, I think that the people voted for us because they know that given the mandate, we'll get the job done. So right now, what is left is how we help the people and how we deliver for the people the things we had already promised.
The people of Basintale have overwhelmingly voted for the NDC party. What message do you think that they were sending through their votes?
I think the message they are sending is that they are tired of politics as usual. They are tired of the old. They are tired of being neglected. So they voted for us to come and make the change that they need. One of the changes is for infrastructure development. The second one is really for human development. So the youth especially are expecting us to give them jobs, to give them the training they need, to give them the jobs, and those who have finished the training, to give them the equipment they need to continue or to have their own businesses. And the women in the constituency are also expecting us to help them with microloans so that they can be successful in their businesses. And lastly, the economic situation. They voted for my President John Dramani Mahama so that the economic situation will be less in terms of the hardships, will be less, and then they can be able to buy food stuff and goods and services that are less expensive. So I think for the presidential, the mandate is the economic situation, and for the parliamentary, it's for jobs and development. And we are assuring them that we will bring that necessary development and the necessary jobs for the youth.
For years, the communities of Pelikope, Dosiakope, and Wudokokbo, all in the Volta region, have shared the same burden: no access to safe drinking water. With the nearest sources often miles away, residents have suffered sometimes from waterborne diseases. But hope has finally flowed into these villages, thanks to the Rotary Club of Accra West and Turlock. My colleague Michael Ashali has the rest of the story.
2022 Ghana Demographic and Health Survey reveals a stark reality. Nearly 1 in 5 Ghanaians lacked sufficient access to drinking water in the month before the survey. For 11% of the population, unsafe sources like surface water remain their only option, while 10% endure grueling journeys for over 30 minutes just to fetch water. In Pelikope, Volta region, residents walk for hours, not for clean water, but for any water at all. Moses Akpovi, a resident of the Pelikope community for over 30 years, recounts how search for water often takes them miles away, sometimes spanning 3 neighboring communities.
So our elders, they can see that how we are suffering from the water. We dig a well here about 27 years ago now. So we are fetching the water and the well knocked down.
The local assemblyman, Sachi Neiram, overwhelmed and running out of options, struggled to gain a response from government officials despite his relentless appeals.
I give it to MP, but nothing has shown. I give it to government institution, but still, I give it to MPs, whether MC to the same thing.
About 20 kilometers away, Dosiakope mirrors the struggles of Pelikope, a community burdened by the same unrelenting water crisis. Biedo Kennedy is the assemblyman for the area.
You know, the women suffered a lot, especially the pregnant women. The former source of water that we normally use, we get a lot of diseases from it.
These wells are a common thing in many of the homes, but even this is empty as at now. Farther north, the small farming community of Fudokpo struggles as well. Millicent's children sometimes miss school because of the long trek to the nearest stream, a situation she fears could permanently derail their education.
By the time they return from the stream, it's already time for break. This had affected my own education and now that of my children.
Residents of Pelikope, Dosiakope, and Wudokpo finally have clean water close to home thanks to the Rotary Clubs of Accra West and Turlock, with support from Meaningful Life International. Professor Kwame Akwa is the Director of Projects.
This project is in line with Rotary's WASH project, which is water, sanitation and hygiene, to go to villages where they have no water, to provide them with portable drinking water.
Each borehole, valued at $9,500, comes with a simple ask: an oath to maintain them.
So help me God.
Amen.
They are calling on government to, as a matter of urgency, come and do some more development in the area. For Joy News, Michael Ashale.
From those wells of hope, let me tell you now about Perseus Mining Ghana Limited, which has reaffirmed its commitment to education and community development by providing the necessary resources to enhance the human capital in its catchment communities. Now, speaking at the PMGL Scholarship Day, the managing director of the company, Daniel Ejamensa, emphasized the importance of investing in education as a cornerstone of progress and a responsibility to nurture the dreams of young, ambitious minds. There's more in this report.
The managing director of the Perseus Mining Company, Daniel Ejamensa, praised the resilience and determination of the beneficiaries, urging them to use their education to uplift their communities and inspire future generations to pursue knowledge and embrace growth. He says for 2024, 276,658 Ghana cedis was allocated to benefit 176 students, underscoring the company's dedication to fostering educational opportunities.
As you move forward, may you carry with you the values of perseverance, integrity, and service. Use the opportunities afforded to you not only to transform your own lives, but also to positively impact those around you. Let me reiterate our long-standing commitment to the vision of the Edikan Trust Fund Scholarship Program. Together, we will continue to light the path of success, one scholar at a time.
Board chairman of the Edikan Trustee Limited, Akwesi Jemfia Bofa, explained why the company has made it a duty to support young minds in their catchment areas.
To our scholars, I want to remind you that scholarship is more than just financial assistance. It is a note of confidence in your abilities and potential. Use this opportunity not only to excel academically, but also to explore your passions, embrace challenges, and contribute meaningfully to the world around you.
Some of the students spoke to Joy News.
So I want to encourage the students out there that they shouldn't fear, they should persevere and come out, because there is a scholarship that will push them to a greater height, which will help them to achieve whatever they want to achieve at the end of their life.
I pray and hope that they will continue doing this so that they will help our younger sisters.
Through the Edikan Scholarship Fund, PMGL has invested over 1.36 million Ghana cedis in supporting 694 students from its catchment communities since the program's inception. Abdullah Osman's report read to you.
It's time now for our business updates, and the Ghana Hotels Association says it will push the current government to consolidate all taxes imposed on them. President of the association, Dr. Edward Aka Nyameke Jr., entreated the new government to address the needs of hoteliers to make it easier for the country to achieve its 1.2 million tourists target. He spoke to Joy Business at the opening of the Manor Heights Hotel in the Central Region.
Well, the good thing is that as an association, which is the Ghana Hotels Association, we had an input in the MPP's manifesto and an input in the NDC's manifesto, because we saw them as the two leading parties. One of them has been elected, so it means that it's been a win-win game for us. So we are going to hold NDC to their manifesto because they met us, we made an input, and fortunately they included it in the manifesto. So we are going to look forward to the implementation of every item in the manifesto. And if they do, we believe that it will take the tourism and hospitality industry to the next level. Well, I think that is very well known. We've been talking about coming out to consolidate all the several taxes that we pay into one simple tax and at a level that is affordable to the industry players. So when you talk about VAT, NHIL, the GET fund, especially the 1% COVID levy. We want all of these to be consolidated into one tax.
Ghana, it's a wrap for business. It's a wrap for the AM News. But stay with us. Joining us for the news review, we have Dr. Paul Grieve-Boakye-Dankwa, we have Nana Yaw Jantua, we have lawyer Amanda Clinton. All of them join us for a conversation this morning. We'll be right back. Now, my guests this morning, those in the studio, Dr. Paul Grieve-Boakye-Dankwa, he is government spokesperson on governance and security, and of course, Nana Yaw Jantua, former General Secretary of the CPP. We also have in the studio right now, Amanda Clinton, Head of Chambers, Clinton Consultancy. I just murdered your middle name, huh?
Oh, that's fine. It's too early in the morning.
What's the proper pronunciation?
Akwoko.
Akwo?
Younger twin.
Akwoko.
Yes.
I nearly said Akwobini. Akwoko. Okay. I hope your other twin is well, though.
She's very well.
Someday, both of you should make an appearance on the AM show.
We should. We're identical, so we should.
You'd cause a lot of panic out there because people will be like, wait.
There's two of you.
A lot of people don't know you're a twin.
Yeah.
But anyway, thanks for joining the conversation. You know how we do it. I'm going to come to both of you for bite-sized reactions. Any reflections you have for us this morning? Then we get into the papers. I'll start with you, Amanda. They say ladies first, so I'm giving you the first option. Let's do this.
Sure.
Any reflections for us this morning?
Parliament is resuming today. Interesting times in terms of, I think people can firmly sit in the majority and minority seats without fighting. And
you think so?
Oh, I think so this time round. And
really,
maybe they can just get on with the agenda of Parliament.
What makes you think that?
Because it's a clear majority, and
but that's for the 9th Parliament. The 9th Parliament hasn't taken off yet.
Yes, but I think out of decorum, because I think the leader of the supposed majority at the time said he was spiritually unable to sit on that seat. Because the elections were going to come up, and so now the elections have been declared. Perhaps he'll be able to sit on the seat now.
I see. Well, the spiritual dynamics, I don't know. He said it wasn't spiritually right for him to sit in the minority seat.
Yes.
If he is retained as leader of the MPP caucus, he would have to sit in that seat going into the next Parliament. So. I guess this election has taught me a lot about words and sometimes minding what you say. Paul Grieve, do you have any reactions to that? Because those words and stuff also remind me of the Vice President, His Excellency, asking for a big gap. And
Benjamin, a very good morning.
What a gap it was.
And to the good people of this country and to Amanda.
Right.
And to state that I haven't sent my congratulations to the President-elect, John Dramani Mahama, on this platform. And so let me congratulate him for a successful election, and also to commend the flag bearer of the new patriotic party, Alhaji Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, for an excellent show-off as well. Very interesting dynamics. You are aware that transitional period is in now.
Right.
The Act mandates that the outgoing government transitions effectively to the incoming government. And so it's a strong resurrection of our democracy. And yesterday I saw that the President, Nana Dankwa Akufo-Addo, was hailed as Mr. Democrat by the chair of ECOWAS. And so it's a feather in the cap of Ghana.
Right. Well, thanks for those reactions. Let's quickly get into the papers. I'll start with you this time, Paul Grieve. What do you have?
So Give us the headlines first. I'll just give the headlines.
Get into one or two of
them. The news center margins a powerhouse for identity solutions with significant milestones in 34 years. President-elect Mahama hit hints of IMF bailout review, promoting safer cooking. NPA advocates for gas over fire charcoal. No accord to refer midnight actions to transition team Fatima to Abubakar, but will the NDC with absolute majority give Ghana midnight appointments laws to limit actions? The Today newspaper, I won't cancel free SHS. Mahama measures Coconut Grove Beach Resort celebrates 30th anniversary. And then on the custodian, no freeze on payment recruitment. EC declares 4 annulled seats illegal, and a few other stories. Maybe I'll just go into this. I like to do the margins group. It's a bit neutral on the agenda. So the margins group, 34 years of transforming identity solutions. I'll just take the first and the last paragraphs. Over the last 34 years, margins group has grown and evolved.
But this is more advertorial. I mean,
it's advertorial. It's in the newspaper anyway.
Anyway, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, so over the last 34 years, Margins Group has grown and evolved to become a trailblazer in identify solutions. From a humble beginning with a small garage in Ringway Estate, just about $100, a visionary team, the company founded on 13th December 1990 and has grown into a beacon of innovation and trust, recognized as one of the most reliable providers of identity products, services, and solutions on the continent.
Okay, I think that should be, because it does, you know, it does convey an advertorial, and they've not paid us any money.
Of course.
We'll not do them any favors.
Of course. I can pick a few more. No accord to refer to midnight actions. I mean, these are on the transitional issues. President-elect John Dramani Mahama, Ghana has always upheld a one China policy. Nandom Rural Bank archives robust growth. And then I see here this an issue by Kwesi Tewia Benjamin: for a successful second term, President Mahama-elect should drive a caravan, and on and on and on. I think
he should drive a caravan.
A caravan. I mean, I can go into it.
I mean, I'm curious about what he means.
Okay, so we have been told President-elect John Dramani Mahama is a vociferous reader. He reads everything and also listens to everyone in his cycle of trust. Special advisor Joyce Bawa Mokhtari tells us, after his historic win, okay, let me just go to the caravan. The caravan through the forest. In the course of his reading, the president-elect may have encountered the thoughts of other presidents, especially former President Prime Minister David Cameron's story of driving a caravan through the forest. I think it's just like...
Okay, I think, yes. Right.
So,
further details,
further details.
Our viewers can get into the story. They can buy the paper and get into the story. Right. Amanda, do you have any reflections on any of those?
No, I think I'll leave it for you, for those papers.
Okay. Any further comments you'd like to pass, or can we move on to another paper? Okay. So let's do your paper. What are you looking at?
I think I'll just focus on the leading stories. The Supreme newspaper says, ignore ugly noises over free SHS abolition. So John Mahama tells Ghanaians that he is going to carry on with the free SHS, and is quoted on page 3 as saying that free SHS has come to stay and is going nowhere. Nobody's going to scrap free SHS. What was said was political talk and gimmickry. We are going to maintain it. What we are going to do is get dedicated funding for it. The paper also leads on an analysis of the 2024 presidential and parliamentary results by saying that the 2024 election results have firmly positioned the NDC as a dominant force in Ghana's political landscape, both in the presidency and in the parliamentary representations. Moving on to the Ghanaian Publisher, it's leading with a story that says Mahama's hypocrisy exposed, because he allegedly justified last-minute appointments in 2016, yet condemns the same in 2024.
Okay, so we usually do one paper at a time.
Okay,
so,
sorry.
We could, but you've already you've gone into the ignore ugly noises of a free SHS, and then if that's the major story you want to do, we can look at that and then get into Mahama's hypocrisy exposed, allegedly exposed, and take a quick swipe at that. So which one do you want us to start with? Because the president-elect recently speaking on the VOA spoke about the fact that it was mere propaganda, all the talk. And I like the fact that it's being reiterated that, look, there's nothing that's going to happen to free SHS. We're going to maintain it. In fact, we're going to ensure that it runs even more smoothly. But we're going to have to tweak a few things to ensure that the program runs as successfully in terms of quality and other things as we want. So you could share your thoughts on that, and then we'll go to the other bit in there about last-minute appointments and all that. Because I actually saw a video, Paul Grave, I saw a video of Osafo Mafo back in the day. Have you seen that video?
I have, you know.
Have you seen that video? I mean, the language. You know, sometimes I say that politicians, you have to watch out, because I don't know whether any of you have seen that video, but because I don't have it readily to let my director or production team play it. But you see the video and the rhetoric he uses, and he says, look, if you appoint any of these people last minute and everything in between, you have people who are not working even in December. No, hold for me. They are going to start working in January of a new administration's whatever, even in terms of the accountant and controller general. This creates certain issues. You are not on any payroll and all that. So for them, listen, if you get on that list, if they come through, they are going to rusticate you. You're going to be sacked. I mean, it's good that you've watched the video.
I have, you know, but one of my reflections about some of these things are how we have to continually redefine how we do our politicking, and also how we have to redefine how we do public servicing. Because, I mean, I know that we've had governments after governments, we had transition after transitions, but you can't blame an outgoing government for continuing her responsibility in governance. And so if we repeatedly want to hit on the negatives, then it goes against other people who would want to do, because you see, like the President-elect John Dramani Mahama yesterday in his church service stated that Ghanaians are waiting to use the bar to hit if they don't act well. You recall that. And so I think that those are history that should guide us not to repeat that, and also to state that whatever that is done during a transitional government based on what the Act says and is permissible should be allowed.
Hold for me. Let me bring in. I'll come right back to you on that point. Nanaya Achapim Jantua joins the conversation. You are looking Afafrantoish this morning.
Hey,
are you feeling Afafrantoish?
No.
Like the emperor butterfly?
I'm feeling Ghana.
You're feeling Ghana?
Yeah.
So this is the gold in
yes,
Ghana. No?
I'm happy. Ghana has been liberated.
Ghana has been liberated.
Yes.
I'll come to you. But that's Nanaya Achapim Jantua, former General Secretary of the CPP, and also she's been with the PURC. Just a quick point, and I'll come back to you, Amanda, then go to Nanaya. Two things. Are you admitting that it was wrong then, the rhetoric of Osafo Mafo? Are you admitting that it was wrong and saying that, look, if it was wrong then, we shouldn't continue doing it? I have said that, and some have said, till January the 6th, midnight, this administration has the power to do certain things. It does not stop because there's an incoming government. Fact. But also, whether here or in the US or in other parts of the world, you would realize that when an administration is at its twilight, it doesn't take certain radical actions, which will, especially those that will affect the public purse, especially when you have an IMF program, because then you saddle the incoming government with fiscal responsibilities that may be a burden on not just them, but the people. Remember, my final point, Trump, the point when Joe Biden recently sent the attack mass, is it cruiser missiles to Ukraine. You heard the furore from the Trump side, because then you put them in a diplomatic quagmire that they will have to inherit and deal with. That's what we're talking about. Quick reflection, and then I come back to you.
Benjamin, I didn't live in the time of Osafo Mafo to pass a judgment on his comments, but one of the things that I can say is that it's always healthy, really, for us politicians and public servants to allude to the interest of the Ghanaian people. And, certain statements that would come to haunt us in the years ahead, we should be guided about it.
All right. Amanda?
Yeah, I mean,
so your reflections on that?
My reflections on it is that, they're guided by statutory provisions which allow them to recruit, etc. And I think the actual transition committee came out with a statement on the 13th of December, which reads at paragraph 5 that regarding concerns about an ongoing recruitment and payments, it was noted that the government's term expires at midnight on the 6th of January 2025. These recruitment processes and payments have received the relevant statutory approvals and have not been proven to be illegal. It was decided that any specific allegations of illegality about any particular payment or recruitment should be brought to the attention of the Transition Committee. So until the Act is later, clarifies that you're not allowed to do this, statutorily, these approvals are allowed, and I think both governments tend to go ahead with such appointments anyway.
I guess the problem is the scale, right? Now, in 2016, right before John Mahama and the NDC exited governance, they had Daniel Yao Domelevo brought in, Auditor General, the Shraj boss brought in as well. But some say these were institutional. It wasn't major. But now we're talking about the 240 million Ghana cedis for that agency working for the ECG. That's a lot of money looking at the IMF situation. Then you're talking about recruitment of quite a lot into the public sector. That creates direct fiscal impact, and that's what people are talking about.
Yes, it does create direct fiscal impact, but again, there is always a balance in life, and the balance, it seems, is happening in Parliament, where the NDC does have the majority. So if anything is particularly adverse to them in terms of, things that are going to affect this IMF, because I think Mahama's already indicated that Ghana will not quit IMF deals but wants changes. These are the key policies that they're going to be focusing on as they move forward in Parliament, and should it be adverse to them, they're probably going to push, for a vote on it and perhaps get their way with that majority. So it's nothing that can't be dealt with, but I think, in the spirit of one party is one, and in the spirit of, Mr. Biomir just gracefully saying that, the other side has won, this transition team is looking to make sure this is done seamlessly, and thereafter they can deal with major things like IMF, etc., by dealing with it in Parliament. So
all right.
It's fine.
Kojo Asempa says, this morning show is amazing, and he's at Kojo Asempa. You're trying to get me to advertise you, no problem. Kojo Asempa Furniture Works in Edum, Kumasi. I'd like to know what you find amazing about the show, though. It'll be interesting. Nana Yachipim Jantwa joins the conversation. Do you have any reflections on either of these stories? Because we're going to the next one on free SHS. If you want to do your usual,
what is my
1 minute? No, because of the time. But if you want to come in with maybe some 40 seconds of reflections before we get into the stories, that's also
on
fine.
The appointments.
Yeah. So the appointments, the money to be paid by this administration on behalf of ECG, and then we'll move to the next one. Ignore ugly noises over free SHS, or ugly noise. I don't know why we pluralize this sometimes. Ignore ugly noise over free SHS abolition. John Mahama tells Ghanaians. In that VOA interview, he confirmed that,
okay,
nothing would happen.
Good morning to your viewers. Good morning to you. Good morning to my dear sister.
Amanda.
And
nice Paul Grave.
Meeting you. And good morning to Paul Grave.
Good morning.
Paul Grave, I told you.
Good morning, Mami.
Yeah, I told
Congratulations.
you. Thank you.
Yeah, I like this rhetoric. Okay. Quick thoughts?
For the free SHS, it has come to stay, and I don't think that any government can decide to cancel it completely. But
the Afrobarometer survey indicated that about 85% of Ghanaians wanted it to continue. So yes. I think that any president who touches it at his own, his or her own risk.
It is just that the MPP, under the UP tradition in 1966, after the coup, abolished the free secondary education that had started from the north, and the committee that abolished it was chaired by Nanado's father at the time. So
you mean Edward?
Yes.
Ekufuado?
Yes, he chaired that committee.
Why this historical antecedent? What are you trying to say? Hey, Nana.
You said I should make my comment.
Ayo.
So I am saying that with the free SHS, it started then. And if it wasn't abolished, I mean, other governments would have continued. But it was abolished by a committee chaired by Nanado's father to abolish the free SHS. But whatever it is, better late than never. I mean, his son, Nanado, came and he it was a way of redemption. And you see that he was
placating the people for what happened in the past.
For what his father did. So I mean.
But maybe it was good because then it served as a political tool for his son to become president. It worked.
Yes, it worked. I mean, at the time it worked, but you see, free SHS is a marvelous educational concept, but the implementation was flawed. And that is what we need to look at. But what His Excellency Mahama said on the VOA, I don't think our preference or our reference should be VOA. He said categorically on one.
No, we're only referencing it because it's the latest reiteration of what he's saying.
So many times. He said, how can he, Mahama's son, who was part of the Northern Free SHS, free secondary education, or free education at the time, abolished? Right. I mean, his father will not even forgive him in the spirit. Okay. So the point is that he's going to continue, and I know he will continue. I always tell people that, you see, there's a lot of propaganda and debt has been put on him. But you see, Mahama is a serious guy. When he says something, he does it. And if you don't know him, you don't know him. He's a serious guy.
Nanaya, are you a spokesperson? I mean, Joyce Bahamatari is there, but this morning you're giving me a vibe.
This is not, I'm not a spokesperson. I'm saying that John Mahama is a serious guy.
Okay.
So if he says he will do something, the MPP managed to put him in a certain, atmosphere. But the man is a serious guy.
Okay.
So I'm saying that we shouldn't even go back whether he continue with free SHS or not.
We shouldn't pigeonhole him.
Yeah, once he has said it, he has said. But the most important one that he said I was happy was the basic education.
Right.
Then we have neglected, and he said it apt.
But our 1992 Constitution has spoken about F-cube.
That's what I'm
free
saying.
Compulsory,
yes, but we have
universal basic education.
Yes, we have neglected the basic infrastructure, curriculum. I mean, even the feeding, the school feeding and all that.
Right.
So he also said that as part of his overarching, restructuring of the educational sector, he's going to have a stakeholders meeting of everybody to be there, Ghanaians.
Okay, all right.
To look at the whole educational sector. But Mahama will continue with free SHS.
Just a quick point. I just want this quickly. And I know I'm being mischievous, but you say he's a very serious guy. Does that, if one person is serious, it's going to imply that others were not serious. Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm just trying to say that in the context of what the MPP used to say about him.
Okay.
Oh, so which others?
Palgrave, I did admit I was being mischievous. No,
you said the others here.
No, not the others here.
The others where? The others in his government or the others here?
I'm referring to...
Oh, but they were not, that how can you dig a whole $58 million and say that is a national...
All right, let's drop it there. Me and my wife.
They are not serious. If they were serious, they wouldn't lose like this. Ghana
all right.
has voted
Amanda, back to this quickly. We have to move on.
Yeah,
your reflections.
Quickly, I think it's very interesting that His Excellency Mahama says that this is going to be a legacy presidency for him. We've never in the history of Ghana heard that word, that this is my legacy presidency. So it's impactful because when someone is in opposition for perhaps 8 years, they have a lot of time to think about what they could have done better and to reflect, etc. So for a signature program and to leave one's legacy, I think continuing what the good work of the NPP.
Which good work is that? Amanda, what are you talking about?
Let's be,
good work, some work.
Yes, to improve on it to the extent of, funding, dealing with overcrowded classrooms, which, this new president will do, inadequate infrastructure and delays in funding, which hindered a lot of the full implementation. This would create a legacy for him if he really does do all these things.
I mean, we're just going to hold him to what he promised.
Yes, but I do think 8 years in opposition as a leader, it must give you time to think about, because politics is very fast. You see what I mean? So when you're out of power, you have a lot of time to think about what could I have done better, how can I do it, and why?
Right.
And leave some sort of legacy. So we really do hope that this does happen.
All right. Nanaya, quick one for you. This message says, good morning, Ben. I love it when you have Nanaya on the show. She is my favorite guest. My shouts to her. So that's Bright Senano Kusime sending that message. But Nanaya, you know, sometimes I disagree with you. You can say whatever you want about free SHS in terms of its implementation. I have railed against this administration for poorly implementing it, but you have to give them credit for some good things done, including free SHS, and at least bringing it to a certain level.
So give me
someone lays a foundation, another person builds upon it, as the Bible says. So I think that sometimes in talking about it, we should be a bit more charitable to the current administration, at least on free SHS.
If you lay a foundation and it's not good, the house breaks down.
Okay, all right. Point noted. I guess there's
7 million young children have benefited from free senior high school.
Paul Grave, let me be mischievous again. Are you saying that Nanaya is acting like Akosa Chakroma and Yennefer? Is that what you're saying?
5.7 million children. What President Nanado Danko
and they voted against it.
What President Nanado Danko has done has changed education in this country.
Right.
Science, technology, engineering, mathematics, STEM schools, model schools.
And they voted against it.
These infrastructural works that we have brought in. I think that we commend President-elect John Dramani Mahama for...
I mean, he himself did a lot in education, not just the E-blocks. So we know that, thankfully, both of them have a focus on education.
For wanting to build upon the existing foundations of President Nanado.
Weak foundation is going to strengthen it.
That is really what continued governance is about.
Okay, all right. Thank you, gentlemen. I think we have to move on. If we don't move on, is there anything else that you'd like to do from your second paper? So, or either of these, and then I'll go straight to Nanaya. Because you were in one of your papers, that's why I want you to just look carefully, because we'll not come back.
No, I think most of it says the same thing. Although it seems like Kofi Bentil says that Baromea remains a better choice for Ghana, but
it was on Newsfile over the weekend.
Yes, I saw a bit of it.
And I saw some of the commentary, and
this overwhelming win would indicate otherwise. But he had a very interesting take that a lot of us saw over the weekend on Saturday.
Okay.
But there's nothing else in this paper.
All right. Nanaya, what would you like to take us through? Which paper are you looking at?
What's the name of the Today newspaper?
Okay, so which stories are you looking
at? I already looked at EC Defense Recollation Exercise.
I know Dr. Bosman-Asare, joined the Newsfile crew, but the CI and all of that. The point was made that was it different strokes for different folks, because in the past some things were done, but and the fact was that there would be no recollation. You would have to engage the processes and go to the High Court. But the point, to be fair, that Dr. Bosman-Asare made was that in this instance, there are some circumstances that differentiate the issue. And the fact that in some cases, maybe there was some group on, on the neck of the electoral officer to maybe sign off or declare, and a few other circumstances that for them, once those things happen, it invalidates whatever declaration has been made, and so you must then recollate. It's a novelty, though, because if you look at it technically, all they should have done was, okay, if you have an issue, go to the High Court, and let the High Court do that.
Determine
but what's your take
Because
on that?
you see, the process is that you gazette it, then as you're saying, you go to the High Court, then a determination will be done at the High Court. This issue of recollation, I've never heard about. After the papers, the ballot papers are counted at the polling station, gone to the constituency, everything put together, a winner is declared, it goes to the collation. The collation center is just for transmission. So why then do you recollate again? I saw him saying something like, in some of the constituencies, they say Okaikwe Central.
Yeah.
That is Baba Sadiq's place. Or
yes, there's also Patrick Yabuam. There's also
Michael Quays,
Dome Kwabenya, and a few other places that have already been declared.
He said that at Okaikwe Central, they declared the results on one polling stations, and it's left with some others. But in the general election, the presidential, there was some left. They declared the results.
But it was overwhelming. It was to the point where nothing could be done, even if you added all the rest of
whatever it is, they declared
the ballots to one person.
And the Electoral Commissioner said if they had given everything to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, this is what it would be. If they had given everything to His Excellency Bawumia, it is 52.7 for His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Do you get me? So at least that was done.
Right.
This one, Okai Cave Central, I watched on TV. They said there were infractions in some of the collation sheets, the pink sheets, not the pink sheets. So they could see that there were some signatures which, I mean, as if it has been tampered with.
So there were discrepancies.
So the officer said that they can announce on 75%.
Right.
And leave the 25% to be interrogated later.
Right.
When they collated 75%, Baba Sadiq had won. So what is the problem?
The NDC has said that this is a last-minute ploy and that the EC is in bed with the NPP to try and wrest some of the seats that have been won, hold for me, that have been won by the NDC and try and give them some more seats in Parliament. Do you subscribe to that
I subscribe to
argument?
that. So in their disgrace of losing so badly, they want to ameliorate their disgrace somewhat. They also want to have be dependent on in Parliament. Because if NDC, in spite of their numbers, are not able to reach the 2/3 that they need to take decisions absolutely without depending on the opposition, MPP, then they become very useless in Parliament.
Well, they have those 4 independent, depending on how they move. Maybe
No,
those
but who would move
comfortably
with the loser?
Right.
Nobody will move with the loser. They are losers now. Afenyo Maki wanted to do spiritual direction. That spiritual direction has backfired in his face.
Oh, Sarah.
Yes. He didn't want to sit at the minorities. I said the spiritual. Into a country na born him. So now he's going to sit there whether he likes it or not. So the point is that
depends on whether he's maintained as majority leader.
He won't sit in Parliament. No matter what it is, he will sit there. His direction.
I mean, that is if he's maintained as leader.
No, but if he's not leader, he will sit.
Yeah, but he will not sit in the minority, leaders seat. The minority leaders seat. He will be in the section, not in that seat.
But he will be, I'm not talking the seat, he will still be in minority. But that seat.
But you know what's interesting though, ladies and gentlemen, seatism, it just came to mind, has been important in this administration. From the president's seats that is carried everywhere to Afenyo Makin's seats that he will now have to sit.
The president's seat was carried everywhere. So right now, I don't think seatism will be a problem because now it's overwhelming.
Okay,
so what
all
they
right.
want
Nanaya,
to do
we have to be brief with our
that's what I'm saying. You're also enjoying and contributing to the conversation. So what they want to do is to just make, even if it is by 1, that the NDC will not get the 2/3. They are happy. So that if there are major decisions to be taken, they have to depend on them. But
okay, point made.
You
point
get
made.
me. So
point
that
made.
is what it is.
This assertion by the NDC, I mean, let's face it, if you were on their side, you would probably do same as a party. But I find it surprising, some of what has happened, because this regional coalition layer that was added, for example, it created its own level of problems. But you live and you learn. This bit about recollation and all that is a novelty. And while you can give the EC some credit, you must also look at it from the standpoint of why now? Why do this? Why not leave it to the court to handle?
You know, Benjamin, I stayed home and observed the collation and the declaration, and from what I saw, it didn't appear that the electoral officers had the liberty and freedom to declare the results as it was.
In these areas?
In these areas.
What did you see? What did you see?
I mean, so what was available evidentially was as though the new majority, which is the NDC, had some persons that were coercing the electoral officers to declare the seats to their members. And, you know, to be fair, Benjamin, it is not in the interest of the incoming government and the government of President-elect John Dramani Mahama to want to ride over Parliament, because he himself has said that they will not take their majority for granted. They would want to work with the minority. And it is in the interest of the Ghanaian people, particularly in those constituencies who have voted for the New Patriotic Party as their representatives in Parliament, to be those persons. And in fact, if the Electoral Commission and for all of what they have done and the integrity that they have upheld all throughout these processes, believe that these persons that have been declared as winners, I mean, there need to be a recollation of that, and even at some instances, if there need to be a revoting in some particular constituencies, I think that we should be able to allow that. I mean, if it wasn't so, we would not be here. And of course, if the issues is not as it is, and we needed to go through the legal means as CI 127 states, I mean, obviously they would have gone to the High Court to be able to see the final veracity of these issues. But I think that the issues that have been presented to us is very clear that some of the seats that were declared, and I know that some other persons that I've observed can agree with me that it was as though the hand was being forced to declare all of it to the NDC. But we know that the pink sheets are there. Evidentially, the Electoral Commission has pink sheets, and if they want to do recollation, let's allow them to do the recollation. And if it falls for us in Sawoma Doji for...
How can it Sawoma Doji?
Honorable Anodom Pre, Patrick Bois, Kankwe Central, Ayawaso, Domikwa Benya for Ambassador.
I guess you guys didn't expect such contests where you would likely be beaten, especially in places like Domikwa Benya, and Yendi has also been lost. But in Sawoma Doji, we have to move on. Maybe a lesson there for Frank Anodompre and going about talking about, the president should halt the transitional process.
I cannot imagine.
As a lawmaker, a legislator, saying that the transitional process, as stipulated, should be halted just because he's lost a seat. And some people, I mean, that sounded so, it sounded like intellectual savagery. But anyway, we'll move on from there.
I think it's a lesson of humility, that is about to take place because, a lot of the rhetoric, like you started the show and said, the way people speak, the way they spoke a lot about, the spirituality of seats and they can't sit in certain parts and, certain people saying that, well, if the seat is not theirs, then nothing can move forward. It will be a lesson of humility, I think, and to perhaps reflect over the next 4, perhaps 8 years. In order to come back.
Why did you take a quick look at her when she said 4, perhaps 8 years? It could even be 12 years.
I think it's my subtle,
or more.
My subtlety.
It could be.
There are conversations and opinions.
Oh, yeah. But I'm saying it could be,
well,
right?
I mean, I don't know.
But a quick one, though. You in the MPP, you've spoken about 5 million beneficiaries. You just reiterated that.
5.7.
Yes. It's actually false. So there has been talk about... In fact, on the same platform, we've heard the sector minister talk about 5.7 million and 5.1 million. We've heard, I believe, the president talk about the different figures that are mentioned. But Fact Check Ghana also conducted a check on this, the Media Foundation for West Africa, and they found out that a lot of what you've been saying is false. In fact, the total number of beneficiaries, even per the source being the Ministry of Finance data, is 3,135,754. So I think it's high time you stopped mentioning 5.7 million. And I'm talking about November 2024. In fact, November 5th, 2024. That's just what? About a month plus ago? So stop telling Ghanaians 5.7 million. That is not true. Very quickly, what was I going to? Let's go to your next paper. Paul Grave, is there anything else you'd like to do quickly?
It's the same thing on the Electoral Commission, declaring 4 seats illegal. So, Okainke Central, Domi Kwabenya, Tema, and then Obuasi East. So, it's just the same thing. But really, I mean, we all want peace to prevail at the various constituencies because all of these have followers. I mean, imagine that you have voted for a particular person to represent you in Parliament.
Right.
That will is being thwarted. It will not go well in the constituency. And so we want the Electoral Commission to do the rightful thing and be able to determine who the rightful MP elects are in the various constituencies.
All right. Thank you very much. This one says, Donatus James says, Ben and Joy News now a mouthpiece doing the damage control for the NPP, turning criticism and attack on John Mahama. Some of you, I only wish you peace. and joy, like we do represent, if you don't follow us cutting both sides and, in fact, speaking vehemently against this administration, and you think I'm defending. But as I sit here, no matter what my personal opinions may be, I must be fair. And I must ensure that one side is not misrepresented, just like I did with the numbers on free SHS. So I pray you find peace, yeah? Let's get into other stories. Do you have anything else, or should I get into my batch of newspapers?
Please.
All right, so the Daily Guide newspaper. Police investigates in Sawami Dwadjiri shooting. eTransact Ghana Mpuntu launch AI payments accelerator for startups. EC dismisses 4 parliamentary candidate declarations. And there's Yvonne Chaka Chaka headlines the African Festival. There's also Ikia Efriye won with 414 votes margin. That story on page 6. But did she really win? We'll get into that. There's also Kotoko Spank Hearts in Kumasi. Krobia Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Let me reiterate. Spanked. Accra Hearts of Oak. I guess the bones are getting rotten. Omo de omo to omo stress on omo chow omo lashes. Pow, pow, pow. And I'm being biased because, of course, I support Kumasi Asante Kotoko. Wolves sack coach after Ipswich defeat, and Real blast controversial refereeing. Let me just do that story on page 6, because we've already done the other ones. And here we go. Nana Ikuya Efriye, the 2024 New Patriotic Party parliamentary candidate for the Ablekuma North constituency in the Greater Accra region, has retained the parliamentary seat for the MPP in the parliamentary elections with 414 votes difference. According to data collated from the 281 polling stations in that constituency, Ikuya polled a total of 34,613 votes to beat her main contender. It goes on and on. Now, despite knowing that they had lost the parliamentary elections in Ablekuma North, per the records on the pink sheets, the NDC and the parliamentary candidate are refusing to accept their fate. Okay, this is a pretty one-sided story, but also to be expected. I've said that there are newspapers that if you pick one story, you'll be able to tell how this newspaper will reflect it and how another newspaper will reflect it, which is a problem I feel we should be addressing in this country. But there's also media freedom. How we could do it. That's it. The Daily Analyst this morning, what's it analyzing? My government won't scrap free SHS. Ken Ofori-Atta was more powerful than Akufo-Addo. And Diapi Akubi fires. And of course, he also was on the losing end as far as his seat in Parliament. President Albert Kwabena Dwumfour, a transformative leader in Ghanaian journalism. A story by Peter Kojo Apisao. And then election 2024, Suleiman Abrahima commends police for professionalism. But on the back of that, the number of people who have died on the back of the election, I think it's something that will be the final bit I'll let you talk about. We have to go. But I find it egregious that we've now got to the point since 2020. It's now becoming a fabric, a part of our elections where before 2020, this had never happened. Now it seems to be the pattern. People will die or must die. I don't know what your quick reflections are. You have 30 seconds, 40 seconds max each on that point. I'll start with you, Amanda.
Well, I definitely don't think that blood should be shed, particularly for an election. And it's quite sad that, a lot of people lost their lives and people use this as a means to just be violent. I do believe in the rule of law and that anybody who is violent during election should face full account for it, right. Just so that in future people know that this isn't acceptable at all. And I think over the weekend there was a security expert talking about this, and he was saying that if people were dealt with properly at the first instance, then they wouldn't be coming back the second time. A key example I think he cited was Ernest Yeboah, who didn't, Colonel Abaji said that this man hasn't suffered any consequences, and he goes back from 2019 to 2024 to shoot again. You see, so with the rule of law, people should not use the platform of politics to commit violence and to even lose their lives, because we fought so hard for democracy for this not to happen.
Right. Nanaya?
I always say that it's not worth it for people to lose their lives because of an election. But the most important thing is that His Excellency John Dramani Mahama has said that he's going to probe the deaths. And
I
hope that he adds the 2028 deaths as well.
Right.
And let's come to a conclusion on the matter.
Thank you.
But let me come to...
It has to be very short.
Yeah,
we have to
very
really
short.
go.
I am saying that I am so surprised that Domi Kwabenya, the MPP, wants to take it from a woman and give it to the son of a former speaker.
But is it not about who won?
But she won because they announced, they declared her. But she's a woman.
Okay, thank you. Thank you on that point. We have to go. Paul Grave. Paul Grave.
Yes. So, there's no way anyone should die for an election. We should be able to check the number of small arms in the hands of people, unregulated arms that are not licensed.
Right.
We don't want to see that an election is held and people die.
All right. Amanda, I also have to congratulate you on that latest development. The School of African Studies, right? London?
Yes.
MSc in what?
In African politics.
African politics?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
14 years ago.
So you have your tentacles in many things?
Yes, mainly in law, but a little bit of politics as well.
African politics.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, so that's Amanda Clinton. She's a lawyer. She's head of chambers at Clinton Consultancy. We also had Dr. Paul Grave, Wachidankwa. Some people were saying that, so we also for. They were asking me here, say, but I can't say that. So, also for Dr. Paul Grave, Wachidankwa. He is government spokesperson on governance and security. And we also had Naya Chipim Jantwa, who was formerly with the PURC and also former General Secretary of the CPP.
Challenge a woman.
This is where we are taking a breather. We'll be back with Sport in Action with Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Do stay.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome to AM Sports here with me, Muftau Nabila Abdullahi. Kumasi Asante Kotoko got the better of Accra House of Okadabawaya Sports Stadium in a super clash that was played. The Pocky Farm Warriors left it late to secure all maximum points in this contest.
And it's Kotoko taking on Hatsafok. That's a lovely ball into Haas on fourth territory. And Kotoko still looking for the big man up there somewhere. First one, that's a big save coming from Benjamin Atari. Oh my God.
Atari feels like it seems he's a bit hurt.
Finds something to work on. Going to be a long shot there, and again.
Half of Accra House of Folk. Their attackers are very fast, very quick on the ball.
Looking for Kakari Pixin. And it's been given a bit of activity down the left-hand side. Now Patrick Asiedu, who wins it. Oh, here, lovely. Hamza, oh my goodness. Oh, the work done by Martin Kakari. Finds his leads man, Hamza, on the sides to just touch it. And indeed, this is... It's a lovely play, at least, to switch into the middle. It's a big movement. Martin Kakari, Salimana. Oh, lovely play. Here is Kwabena Boati. Oh, my goodness, it's flashed away. And Patrick Asiedu
has started dictating the pace in the second half.
Well, that was fantastic work from Martin Kakari. Found Salimana. And that is a very clever defense splitting pass. 5 minutes of additional time, isn't it? You don't fall at this moment. Kotoko will have to attack. Osasime. Asare! Here's the hero! The former goal! Oh my God!
Now let's take a look at the full results of matches that were played in the Ghana Premier League on March the 13th, and just gone by was Kumasi Asante Kotoko's 1-0 victory over Accra House of Oak. Vision FC, they were at home and they won 3-2 against Midiama FC. Samatex also lost 1-0 to Heart of Lions, and Accra Lions won 1-0 against Nations FC. Legon City sat at home and lost 2-0 to Bechemi United. Kayala United drew 1-1 against Bibiani Gold Stars at the Aliu Muhammad Sports Stadium, whilst in Shortruman were also at home and were held to a 1-1 stalemate by Dreams FC. Brekum Chelsea drew 0-0 against Ediana Stars, and Basake Holy Stars also won 3-0 against Young Apostles. So these were the results of matches in the Ghana Premier League on March the 13th. Let's hear from former Ghana striker Augustine Ahemfo. He has shied away from calling the Ghana Football Association to part company with Otto Addo as head coach of the national team. According to him, the decision of Otto Addo's future lies solely in the hands of the Ghana Football Association.
If I were that person, I would have gone. I've told you. Because there's, look, in our local power, I say that I know I didn't make it. The result sometimes is something else. So are you ready for it? Or you still think that you can stand up to it? That's up to you. Me, I would have gone.
You hired the chief executive officer for a handful group of companies. Within 6 months, he runs down the company to its knees.
No, executive, no. Look, that's why I say executive. There's somebody always ahead of the executive.
There is a linkage to that. There's a linkage to that. And that linkage is, you've hired someone who has come for the first time in 24 years or so, loses a game at Baba Yara, for the first time in the history of Ghana's football, fails to win a single match, plays against Niger, that does not play their national team matches at home, comes up against Sudan, a war-torn country, that did not have the opportunity of playing in front of their spectators. What it means, quote and unquote, was that those matches were played on neutral grounds. And guess what? 6 matches.
You are speaking as though you don't live here in Ghana.
Oh, God.
Let me tell you, this is a country where
I can understand your diplomacy.
No.
But in this instance, the point is that if you are playing...
I'm trying to help your cause for you. I'm trying to help your cause for you. This is a country where we go for a tournament, we come, they said that we formed a committee to investigate. Investigate what?
Investigate failure.
And then after the investigation...
And we'll fail again.
So after, look, so I don't want to use the word. Let the word stay here. But it's becoming one too many that a committee will be formed. Decisions will come out of that committee settings. And then we don't apply them. And then now you turn around to come and ask me, who has not been part of that any committee?
As
an individual, I'm saying that I would have resigned this position.
As a footballer.
But for him, it's up to him.
Who has played to the highest level.
Yeah.
It's just like sitting down with your very own maestro.
Yeah.
And maestro says from where he sits, Otto is not good enough. Let him go. That is a huge message that when the next executive council of the Ghana Football Association sits, they look at it and say, no,
this man.
This point, no.
Were you here when the LPP MPs in Parliament, about close to 100 of them, demonstrated that they wanted the finance minister to be sacked?
Yes.
Was he sacked?
Nanados said they...
No, I'm asking you.
No, he was not.
So if I, Augustine Ahemfo, sits here and say that Otto Addo should be sacked, and the executive council that's supposed to make the decision, do not make that decision, what becomes of it?
So why do you think Otto should stay?
No. It's just a question I'm asking you.
So if I rephrase the question to say, why should Otto stay? Why should the GFA allow him to stay after presenting a 56-page document to the Ghana Football Association?
Because I am not privy to what he presented. A journalist called me last week and said, nah, because Otto, I said, Madam, you are speaking as though you were part of the meeting. Were you part of the executive council meeting? He said, no. So this thing that you want me to speak to, how? I'm not privy to whatever documentation I present. If, as I sit here, I know what he presented, then I can speak to it and say, yes, because of A, B, C, D, that you have to go.
So the matches you watched us play, were they good enough? And do they suggest that Otto Addo is good enough for the Black Stars for the future?
Some of the matches, we've had several matches that I felt that we've had two different halves. And I've told him, against Mali in Bamako, against Central African Republic in Kumasi, and it cannot continue like that. The moment it becomes like, then there is a problem, a bigger problem coming. And then, because I told Fifi Barnes in private that, look, we can't always go behind and come back. Some of the things, when you go behind, you can't come back. Against Mali, we were behind, we came back, we won. Against Central Africa, we went behind, we came back, we won. Then Angola came. They scored last minute, we couldn't come back. Then Sudan came, draw here, we went there. Then we went to Niger, we took, and then they came back. So it is the focus of what technically was being done. So I will always leave that decision to him.
A warm welcome back. This is the AM show. My name is Benjamin Akakpo. Now, Ghana is likely to lose more than $100 million in additional revenue due to non-processing of all the raw cashew nuts in the country. And this is a resource we have. But what layers can we add to it? There's more in this report.
The cashew industry is widely considered by many cashew industry experts as one of the most promising in Africa. Ghana currently produces about 200 tons of raw cashew nuts, according to official data from the Ministry of Food and Agriculture, and is among the best quality cashew nut producers in the world. But the sector over the years has been bedeviled by so many challenges.
A lot of difficulties in terms of, improving their livelihoods, in terms of income, earning income, in terms of getting themselves employed, to be able to put food on the table, very, very great challenge. And as, people, as human beings, our main, I think source of earnings, you should either be employed or you can be self-employed. Maybe as a farmer or as, an entrepreneur, engage in some kind of business. But for disabled people, there are no opportunity to, be able to get those opportunities to engage themselves, to free themselves. In fact, most times, physically challenged people in Sierra Leone particularly, what they do is to go begging on the street.
I think the cashew sector is dominated in the processing part by women. I manage a factory that has 2,000 women. That has 2,000 employees. 95% of them are women. So the processing business is already dominated by women. My advice will be for the farmers, the production sector, where we don't have a lot of representation of women. The production is still male dominated because in Africa, it's very difficult for women to have access to land. So that's been one of the handicaps for women.
According to the Ghana Export Promotion Authority in 2021, it is estimated that Ghana loses between $30 million to $100 million every year in additional revenues due to not processing all the raw cashew nuts produced in the country. Experts are worried about the persistent challenges confronting farmers.
The state of processing plants in Ghana is nothing to write home about. Virtually all the processing plants have closed down, except a few that are producing few thousands. In fact, currently Ghana exports almost 95% of all its production as raw nuts, and it is not good for the industry. And the reason being that our processing capacity is now gone down, and our processors also don't have the needed finance to stock the nuts for the whole year, and therefore those farmers also have to sell to people who can buy and pay them. And that is the challenge the processors are facing. If the processors have finance, especially from the financial institutions that will support them, then they can process throughout the year. But if a processor taking a loan at 35, 45, 55%, it's no-go zone. It is nothing to write home about. That is what is really, really, really collapsing the industry. We don't have long-term finance for the processing sector. And that is a big challenge.
The Ghana Cashew Council alluded that although Ghana's raw cashew nut enjoys distinct advantages over other producers, challenges such as high raw cashew nut prices and lack of access to affordable finance remain key impediment factors in the underutilization of the country's processing factories to generate additional revenues.
We won't say we have been neglected because all these years that we have been running, Ministry of Agriculture has supported us in the research, in the distribution, and in even the propagation. But if there's any place that has been regretted, it's from the financial institution. The financial institutions don't really understand the cashew sector. And for that matter, they are not making long-term finance available. If you give a trader a loan at 45% turnover 1 month, and you give that same loan to a processor turnover 1 year, the processing company will collapse. We have been engaging with some of the financial institutions for them to understand really the culture of cashew processing. Some have understood, but they are yet to make the impact of releasing funding for the sector. But at the moment, we are also talking to our development partners like SECO, like GIZ, to support the sector. In fact, SECO last year even supported with machinery so that processing can go on very well. But there's still the issue of inadequate finance for stocking and stocking for the production process.
Some foreign experts are stressing on the need for Ghana to develop favorable policies to help unearth the huge potential of cashew, urging authorities to emulate the example of Vietnam, which has the most competitive cashew industry in the world.
Program which we recommend to all professionals in the value chain, from public sector or from private sector, because it's really important to understand the chain, to understand the linkages, the production area, the commercialization of cashew, but also we let's say transmit specific skills, how to motivate people, how to moderate sessions and so on, to be a good professional in the cashew value chain.
Based on your observation over the years, what are some of the key challenges you guys have seen in the value chain?
Yeah, key challenges in the value chain is that have been mentioned also in the workshop, in the speeches in the beginning. One is to increase the transformation, the processing of cashew here in the African countries. I think that is really a challenge because most of the cashew is still processed in the Asian countries. The sustainability issues, so we have to look for cashew which is produced sustainability, that is sustainable, which is really an requirement from the European and the American markets. So it shall be free, for example, of pesticide residues or of child labor, so that has specific dimensions. And in the future we need really full traceable value chains also for cashew. To get the access to the European market especially.
What is the role of the Ministry of Food and Agriculture to increase the productivity and efficiency of farmers in the cashew value chain by improving crop quality and strengthening the capacity of cooperatives, farmer associations, nursery operators, and input suppliers, as well as boost cashew trade by improving harvest and post-harvest techniques, addressing gaps in data collection, and improving supply chain linkages?
The Ministry of Food and Agriculture is mainly focused on the policy environment for the farmers to have their agriculture thrive. And for cashew, it's part of the Three Crops Development program that the ministry has rolled out through the establishment of the Three Crops Development Authority. So all that is needed to make sure that the cashew industry thrives are being implemented by the Three Crops Development Authority. Government has given them that role to play, from production up to the financing of production activities. All are inclusive, so they will be taking care of that.
Are you guys monitoring what is happening at the Tree Crop Development?
They surely they report to the Minister of Food and Agriculture.
But it seems the challenges still persist.
the challenges persist. That is why they have been brought to find solutions to it. They are being resourced to do what they have to do. They are working with the development partners to get the resources and then the support also that is needed.
Processing cashew in Africa is said to be growing fast since 2016. Thus, development has been attributed to the conducive governmental policies, new technologies, and market-lead initiatives.
Going to this year, I think we may even lose more, because as at January 2024, there were 150 registered cashew buying companies with GCNet. And so these companies were all scrambling for the little production. Our production is just roughly around 30,000 metric tons. And if all these 150 companies are buying even 10,000 metric tons, everything is gone. And they are buying it at a premium, at a higher price, which our processors cannot compete. And once you don't process, you don't add value. When we add value, we sell the cashew 5-6 times more than the raw nuts. And that is where we are running into difficulties with so the few processing companies, local processing companies, currently I'll say it's only one that is doing very well based in Afenya, Winker, that is doing very well. But because it's getting support from the sector, and it's also taking advantage of donor resources. But the rest are minor processing companies that are processing less than 100 metric tons a year, less than 200 metric tons a year, and it's nothing to write home about.
The situation in Ghana does not reflect the general growth trajectory on the continent. For Joy Business, James Eshen.
Welcome back on the AM show. Now, today we have some interesting conversations that will be coming your way with, including, yes, a member of parliament elect, and we'll also have a certain Malik, should I add the end? You know the person we're going to be bringing on. But for now, we want to activate the phone lines and find out from you what your thoughts are on happenings from last week, the declaration of John Dramani Mahama as president, and the fallout, some of the actions by overzealous supporters. And feeding into this week as we contemplate Parliament's return. What's it going to look like? Hopefully no more rancor and all of that. Issues in between. What are your thoughts? We're activating the phone lines. We'd love to hear from you. Call that number, 0302-211-691. This is a brief window we're opening, activating the phone lines for you before we start hosting our guests. So if you have any thoughts, this is the time to call. Call and let me know what your thoughts are. But in the course of the news review, something I must situate, the conversation on free SHS and the numbers. I would like to address the other side. But before I get to the other side, Abdul is on the line. Abdul, good morning. Good morning, Abdul. Do we have Abdul on the line?
How are we?
I am well. How about you?
And you too.
Great, I am well.
My brother, the latest one I have about this,
Go ahead, Abdul. Don't listen to me on your TV. Listen to me on the phone. Go ahead.
We are now alerting the politicians to know that they cannot take decisions for us unless we take decisions for them.
All right, Abdul, thank you very much for calling in. Please, when you call, don't listen to us on the TV or the gadget you're using. There'll be a delay. Listen to me on the phone so we can have a fluid conversation. 0302-211-691. In the interim, we also know that the Electoral Commission has frozen the results of some 4 constituencies, including the Okankwe area, and then there's also Dome Kwabenya, among others. What are your thoughts on those? Because per the CI, it should go to the High Court. But the Electoral Commission has also been explaining that these are different circumstances pertaining to these, that purportedly some of the electoral officials declared those results under duress. So what are your thoughts on those? We have a caller. Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
What's your name? Where are you calling from, please?
My name is Yawuza. I'm speaking from Garut-Tempane.
Yawuza, is that the name?
Yes.
Calling from where?
Speaking from Garut-Tempane.
Oh, Garut-Tempane. Right. How is Garut this morning?
Oh, very peacefully. We are jubilating and we are rejoicing our victory.
All right. Speak up for me. What are your thoughts?
Yes. So this election is telling every politician that the power is in the hands of the electorate.
Right.
And I saw a message from His Excellency John Dramani Mahama saying that, yes, the MPP are in pain, but the NDC should note that it is a wake-up call, and anybody who mess up within the next 4 years will be kicked off. Right. And it is a nice thing that, yes, in fact, money indeed has lost this election. Unless you see how money has been poured on people. And yet they took the money. Ghanaians are now wise-like that give them the money, they will take the money. They'll even follow you for more money. But when they get into the polls, yes, they will decide who they will vote for.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing your thoughts all the way from Garut-Tempane. But note this point. Don't take the money. It's actually a better alternative, because you could say that I'll take the money, but I'll vote my conscience. But if you are caught taking the money, both the one who is giving and the one who is taking could be in trouble. I always mention this when it comes to bribery and corruption or influence. If you take the money and you are caught, then maybe you'd realize that perhaps I shouldn't have taken the money. So free advice. 0302-211-691. 0302-211-691. What are your thoughts? All right, we have a caller from Techiman. Good morning.
Good morning, Benjamin.
What's your name, please?
Yeah, my name is calling from Techiman.
Your name is?
Dan, calling from Techiman.
Dan. Dan, please, what are your thoughts for us this morning?
Yes, I just to thank Ghanaians for a peaceful election and to urge all NDC supporters to remain calm and security officers to ask for safe against the country. However, the vote for Muhammad this election is not only because of the performance of the new Patriotic Party, but the promises he made. That is,
it's not only because of the loss of the new Patriotic Party, but what?
Not because of the failures of the new Patriotic Party, but because Ghanaians are under cruciating pain.
Okay.
Cruciating pain. The stealing was too much, and the promise he made that he was going to reset Ghana, that should be his #1 priority. Right. People roaming about asking for mercy, pleading, and started calling for whatever. Ghanaians are not happy with the MPP and the way they stole and mismanaged this country.
Right.
And if Dom Mahama wants to succeed in this victory that he has overwhelmingly won, he should take the steps, make sure that every corrupt individual is punished, all the stolen money and everything is restored. Ghanaian workers are suffering. Your salary cannot take you anywhere. And people who have amassed one within just a few hours are roaming and sharing everything in the glare of somebody that has worked for 20, 25 years that can never get those things.
Right.
The research should start from now. Don't follow pastors who would come to your business and say, oh, do you know what? We are all one. We are never one. We are never one when it comes to political and management of Ghana resources. MPP has shown us, the overwhelming majority shows that Ghanaians are not happy. And the power can change anytime, anywhere. So if you also follow that same trajectory that the MPP has managed this country with, forgetting that the workers of the country are really suffering, forgetting that the money that they are stealing is not for the development of the country, but the development of individuals, my brother, Ghana will never go anywhere if His Excellency Obama do not take these steps to punish corrupt officials, take back the looting, the stolen money, look into the Ghanaian West and say you have really suffered for more than 8 years under this administration, because the 8 years is more than 10 years or 20 years of suffering. Right. Everyone, the trade union, the galamsey, the bribery and corruption, the negotiation of conditions of service of workers, Those things should be investigated. Some leaders go there to go and take money, take VAs, and leave their workers above, without even thinking that the majority of the workers are those underground. And leadership is not about the top. Leadership is not about wherever that you are, but leadership is about giving hope and light to the downtrodden. And I hope this morning, as we could talk, your mama will listen and listen to the side of the Ghanaians, not which hand, not going after any other thing, but those who really are found culpable should be made to punish. Don't put somebody in jail, take all the resources, let's put it on live TV so that it can deter people and it can bring, they should disgrace them. These are the things. And the electoral commissioner, you said sometime that whosoever that is agree with any other election result should go to court. Please stand by your word and let the country move. We have a country to build, and Ghanaians are suffering. The peace of Ghana is what we all need. The peace of the people is what we all need. The welfare of the Ghanaians is all we need. So Benjamin Akapo and your team, this morning, I say Aiko to John Mahama, and then I also say Aiko to Ghanaians. He should learn from he should learn from this MPP government that the power belongs to the people and not the politicians. That is all that I can say. Thank you.
Thank you, Dan, for sharing your thoughts from Techiman. We're grateful you took the time to call. That was a pretty lengthy one. I let it go because, of course, there was a lot to contemplate in what you were sharing. So thank you for sharing your thoughts. The phone lines are still active. We can sneak in a few more calls and then we'll head into our conversations. If you're minded to do so, now is the time to call. Just key in those numbers. Dial 0302 211 691. It's at the bottom of your screen. Call and let us know what is on your mind. We have Divine calling right now. Divine, good morning.
Good morning, sir.
I don't know. Maybe it's a divine morning this morning.
Yeah, wonderful.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Anglonga, Costa region.
Right. How is Anglonga this morning?
Oh, we are blessed.
Great.
What
are your sentiments? What sentiments would you like to share with us this morning?
Yeah, during the campaign and the rest, money flew here and there.
Money from where?
People even send
money from where?
Indelible ink to people's home with money, so that if you take the money, then they will place your finger into the indelible ink, then so that it will look as though you went to vote already, so that you don't have the chance of voting for your precise party. So a whole lot went on. But,
Divine.
When God speaks, no one can overturn it.
Okay.
So God has spoken, and we bless God for that.
Divine, hold for me. You say some people were giving money to people so that they would dip your hands in indelible ink as though you had voted, but you wouldn't have voted. Who was giving out the money?
The opposition, of course. The now opposition. Or the now to be opposition.
But who specifically? Did you see somebody?
Oh, come on. But that's just but a few. A lot. They already made a statement that they know a lot of ways to win this election. But in fact, most of them, they have been exposed. But going forward, all I want to say is that, in fact, the accountability and probity must begin from even the DCMCs. A lot. I know people who have started putting up some buildings, and then because of their political affiliation, so the moment they are out of power, they are almost out of power. They have halted the buildings, they have stopped. So all those loot must be scrutinized. In fact, a whole lot. This country is very rich. So had it been not for corruption, you and I would have been buying maybe maize, a bowl of maize for at least 15 cedis by now. But it's now 20-something cedis, going up and up, always. Every day things are going up.
Right.
In fact, we have now found a rescuer. We pray and hope that John Mahama will not fail us. You keep to his promises, you put his ministers in check and balances from the top to the down. And then all the MCs and then the DCs they will be appointed should be people with good records. I pray for the best and we hope for the best. Thank you so much.
Divine, thank you for your thoughts. Though that claim you made about some people being paid to dip their fingers in ink as though they had voted, of course, we can't.
So they stayed at home. They never came out. I know people. I wish you would have come down.
But that is the whole point. You can't substantiate it. You don't have the evidence. But thank you for making it known, Divine. Thank you.
How would the evidence be? I can't bring the people with the...
No, but I'm also saying that because you can't, we can't just let it go like that because we can't back it up. You've said it on our platform. I'm not saying it is not true, but I'm saying that we also don't have the evidence to prove that it is. Do you understand?
Okay.
Right. But thank you very much, Divine, for calling all the way from Anglonga. And that is it. Maybe we have time for one more call. 0302-211-691. 0302-211-691. If not, we shall take a breather and come back into the studio. But if there's enough time, we'll do just one more call and then take it from there. Well, you're still live on the AM show, and we're about to have a conversation this morning All right, so here we are back and we are delving straight into our first conversation. Now, the gentleman I'm about to speak to is a Deputy National Communications Officer of the National Democratic Congress. And he's been vociferous out there. He's a man who has won the hearts of many NDC youth with his charisma. And in recent times, though, there have been some altercations, posts. I don't know whether he's the fighter general, but he joins me in the studio this morning. His name is Malik Basintale. Good morning.
Good morning, my brother.
It's good to have you join the conversation this morning.
It's good to join you in studios this morning.
I was expecting to see you maybe in, like General Esiedun Ketias, Batakari with the, the one that, the war smoke and all that. Because you've been on fire a lot in recent times, running all over the place. And this morning you've run into our studios.
If have you ever seen an American CIA secret unit person in such a regalia? They wear suits.
Oh, but this is Ghana, this is not America.
But there's nowhere where those attire means you're going to war. And I've never seen anyone wear such an attire today.
But back in the day...
And there's no reason why I should wear such an attire, because, I'm not one person. That attire does not mean you even going to war in the first place.
It doesn't.
General Esiedun Ketia wears that attire. It doesn't mean he's going to war.
I'm not insinuating that it
who
does.
wear that attire. It doesn't mean they're going to war.
It points to history and what back then those who were going into war, where some of the leaders charging the forces would put on. So historically,
I'm here to learn. I'm here to learn about that.
Oh well, you should check.
I'm here to learn about that.
But coming to some of the latest developments, let me just ask: before the elections, Malik Basintale, there was a lot that you said. Your boots were on the ground. You were massing the supporters, the forces, so to speak, to go out there and vote. How did you find election 2024?
It was an interesting one. We knew we were winning. We knew the Ghanaian people were going to give us the mandates. We knew we were going to win with a large margin, if no one knew.
You knew you were going to win with a large margin.
Yes.
I see.
Because anytime there is a free and fair election, the NDC wins. Anytime there's a free and fair election, the NDC wins.
Was the election fair in 2000 or not? The NDC was in power.
The NDC
was it free?
In power. We lost.
Was it free?
In 2000.
In 2000. Was it free?
Happened. We're just moving out from an era from 92 to 2000. We're moving out of an era of military regime. People still saw Jerry Rawlings as a soldier man, and people still felt that that 8-year period was still a military regime.
No, but,
so we're
but
moving out of that.
To the question.
But from 2000,
that specifically,
absolutely. From
every time
there's a free and fair election,
and I'm asking you, in 2000, was it free? Was it fair?
In 2000, the election
the NPP came on board with so many things, and they did a lot of things. So take it from 2000. In 2004.
So the 2000 election
yes.
was stolen?
Take it from 2000.
Was it stolen?
In 2004. I'm saying that in 2000, the dynamics were different because people still saw the 8-year term of the NDC as being some sort of a military regime, and people still felt that Jerry was in charge and what have you. But from 2000, people felt that, okay, we had civilians contesting election in this country. So in 2000, we had civilians. In 2004, we had civilians. In 2008, we had civilians, 2012 civilians, till date. So if you want to use the 2092 to 2000 election as a basis, you get it wrong because the dynamics were different. And that is why even in 1992, the NPP boycotted the election, some part of it, because they still felt that the soldiers were in charge and there was a military regime and all of that. But after 2000, anytime there is vigilance, anytime things are done right, the NDC wins. And so we usually have two things to do in every campaigning period. We have to campaign to the people, we have to share our policies, and we have to remain vigilant.
Let me
that
ask
is what
you,
we did in this election.
Were things not done right or well in 2016 when the NDC lost, the last time you lost?
In 2016, the system shut down. Charlotte was saying, confirmed that the system was hacked. You knew about that.
There was a shutdown.
It affected. In 2016, it affected the results. We know why we say that, because our internal research unit pointed out to the fact that the systems were hacked, the system was shut down, the EC confirmed it, and a lot of things happened behind the scenes.
That shutdown was not enough to have changed the
that's
results.
not my opinion. And I'm saying that was the EC boss herself confirmed that her systems were hacked.
Yes, but did she say?
Yes.
Never did she say that it had impacted the elections to the point where...
We say that impacted the elections.
So say that the NDC is saying...
I just said our research...
did not say
said our research unit said it had impacted the election. But the EC said the systems were hacked and confirmed that. That's the point I'm making.
No one is disputing that.
Yeah, that's the point
even in
I'm
an organization,
making.
you can have a hack.
Absolutely.
It can be a root hack that destroys everything.
And we
it
are
can be a minor hack.
And we are saying that in 2016, as a result of the systems being hacked, it affected the election results based on our research. And that was why we set up a team, the Kwesi Botwe report, to the Kwesi Botwe committee, to go around and ascertain why we lost the election. At the end of the day, we realized that even the EC systems that were tampered with had an impact on our election results.
Okay, so
we fought hard, we worked on it, we came back in 2020, and 2020, the election was rigged again. In 2024, have you heard anyone say the elections were rigged? The NDC has won with 1.6
But you had been beating the rigging drum, Dr. Tanko, your deputy head of IT, had been here talking about that. In fact, he brought a book, How to Rig an Election.
Yes,
I remember he
absolutely,
brought it here,
absolutely.
Shared a copy with
100%.
A lot of you had spoken
100%.
about rigging. So if you felt that the system was apt now, why were you still beating the drum of
the
rigging?
EC's register was audited, and close to 1 million duplications were taken out. On my phone, I have about 210,000 duplications that were on the register. And that was why we were fighting
How did you
for
come
an
about
audit.
this?
I mean, it's simple. You take the register, just open the register, go to a constituency. You realize that one person's name has been repeated in polling station A, it's been repeated in polling station B. And what that meant was that that person could have voted in A and voted in B. And that was why a lot of times we had a lot of vote pardon occurring, because you find out that you have a total population of 500 voters here. They finish voting and you find 700 papers in the box. It was upset. And so we thought that no, we needed to scrutinize the register. When we did, we took out close to 500,000 duplications. That's how come we won the election. So in 2020, we lost the election by about 500,000 votes. We didn't understand that. But after the audit, we realized that, yes, we were right. And if you remember, when we were calling for an audit of the register from the Electoral Commission, they told us to give them some time to provide it, the final register. Give us some time. From the time of the provisional register to the time of the final register, they realized that a lot of things ought to have been done. Look, in Kaswa, I forgot the name of the polling station. It existed in 2023 register where we voted in the district assembly election, but was absent in the 2024 register. Over 500 people who used to vote at that polling station just went into thin air What could that have meant? That meant that we had fake polling stations for the first time. Now we won a Wutu Senya East. That had never occurred in the history of this country.
So you think it is some machination,
absolutely,
manipulation that in the past,
that made us lose elections.
Apart from these that you talk about, the duplications that you were able to sift.
That's right.
What other measures did you put in place to counter this alleged attempt at rigging?
Number 2, vigilance at the polling stations. We made sure that, in fact, on the election day, we discovered over 1 million ballot papers, thumb-printed in the Ashanti region. Our national organizer, Joseph Yamin, discovered that 1 million. Imagine 1 million papers going.
Wait, does this have to be have to do with a claim about a certain room where people were? Because that couldn't be substantiated.
No, but
or is this a different incident?
The incident, I don't know which incident you're talking about, but what I'm speaking about are 1 million ballot papers, thumb-printed for Dr. Bawumia in a room. Our national organizer discovered it and reported it to the police.
I heard something about that and sample whatever ballots and all of that. But what happened to
in this one?
It's
been reported to the police. It's been taken to police custody, and there are investigations ongoing in that. If we hadn't mounted vigilance at the polling stations, 1 million ballot papers would have gone into the box. The NDC would have lost, and Ghanaians would come say, "No, I voted for you. I voted for you." 1.6 million Ghanaians would say, "I voted for you. I voted for you." Yet we are in opposition. And so all these years, we've had a system in place that continuously rigged election in favor of our opponents. I'm saying, and I'll repeat on this platform, anytime we have a free and fair election, the NDC will win. If one mark my words here,
you're taking 2,000 out. Right? You're taking 2,000.
I am saying, absolutely.
I don't know what you would say about.
I just explained that to you.
What is interesting is that all the way up to about 2008 and beyond.
Yes.
You had a certain Dr. Afarijan.
That's right.
Who had given elections.
That's right.
When I say give, not
That's
that he decided.
That's right.
Ghanaians voted for the NDC, 92, 96. He declared that you had won. 2000, you lost. He declared you had lost.
My brother.
2004, you lost. 2008, you came back.
Today.
And then through elections, I have seen, Malik, let's have a conversation.
Yes.
I have seen, I've forgotten. I don't know whether it was Dr. Nyahunya Otamakla. I have to check respectfully so that I don't make a mistake. But someone suggests that even like 2016 and 2020 were manipulated. They were manipulated.
Yes, we suggested that as a
by
party.
the MPP. But you see, it becomes difficult because Dr. Afarijan, you know how we all celebrate him. He gave you elections.
Yes.
You also lost elections. And you're saying that these elections were manipulated and the EC also was compromised?
My brother, the cripple says that what has passed is what it will not see. But what is coming, inshallah, we'll all see. Today is the 16th of December. From today, anytime there's a free and fair election, we are going to win the election. Count that out, straight up.
Anytime there's a free and fair election.
Yes, no need to debate this. I'm saying that today is the 16th of December, mark my words. From today, anytime there's a free and fair election, we are going to win the election, NDC. Mark my words. Let's move on.
Okay. Now, I find a few things interesting. On the back of the election, though, you say you knew that it was going to be the win by a wide margin.
A wider margin.
But could even you have forecast that the margin would be this big?
Yes.
This wide?
Yes.
I spoke to one professor from UPSA, and I told him here that I feel whichever party wins will win with a big margin. He was telling me it's going to be a small margin. I said no. It will be a big margin.
Absolutely.
But members of your party, even they have said that while they felt there would be a margin, they least suspected it would be, and it's still increasing, over 1.67 million votes. Because when you add the other constituencies, eventually the percentages would even change. And the former president, now president-elect, would get more than 56.55%. But did you see it to be this big? Look at the Ashanti region, for example. Almost 700,000 votes. Did you see that coming?
I personally thought 205 constituencies. I had every reason to see that we were going to win with a big margin because I saw the pain down the throats of the grassroots there. We visited Adansi Akro from where we won. I knew we were going to win that constituency after visiting it. Almost all constituencies. Nantong was in the hands of MPP. We visited Nantong and we saw we were going to win the election in Nantong. We visited Binduri. We saw we were going to win the election in Binduri. A lot of constituencies we are taking back. Ahanta West, we visited Ahanta West. We saw we were going to win Ahanta West back. I personally ended my campaign in Kwesi Mintim. On that day, I knew we were going to win Kwesi Mintim. We visited Dome Kwabenya. We knew we were going to win Dome Kwabenya. Put all these visitations aside. These are real life situations. Come to the radar. Go on research. Musa Dankwa is one highly esteemed person in this country. The first day Musa Dankwa, and let me confess on this platform, told me we're going to win Dome Kwabenya. I looked at him and I smiled. And I said, "Sir, that's going to be a tough one." But after I visited Dome Kwabenya, and met Elek Plema, our candidate, and we met all the grassroots of Dome Kwabenya. I left there thinking fully in my mind that the NDC was going to win Dome Kwabenya. And so, if you had taught this country, if you had met poverty face to face, I met poverty face to face. Today, I can tell what poverty is face to face because I saw it with my eyes. I saw people who could not even eat. I mean, in a whole day, in 2 days, people were struggling to get food to eat. Saw people who, had 50 Ghana cedis and they couldn't buy anything for them. We visited Aboso Kai, we visited the Swami magazine, and we saw people who, could not even clear one container at the port. If you had seen all these things, obviously you would have known you were going to win the election, and you would have known that the government in office was going to lose the election. Dr. Baumia will visit these places and shout, "Move fast here, no mame." Then they bring him my home use Opel Vectra steer. Then he will be turning. Then the child will shout, "Boabe, boabe." Then pe. You would not face reality if you go about turning a home use Opel Vectra steer. If you want to face reality, go to the people, listen to them, let them speak, listen and write it down. When we're drafting our manifesto, one of the things the nation builder President Mahama said was that he was not going to sit in Accra and conclude the manifesto. He was going to come to you journalists. He was going to go to the watcher seller. He was going to go to the cocoa seller. And all those people were going to bring their inputs on board for us to finalize our manifesto. And that was why President Mahama had an engagement with you media men. You remember, he listened to you. He made you ask your questions. Everybody, almost everybody, was satisfied with the answers to your questions on that very day. That was a government that was ready to listen to the people. But if you come meet journalists and you say, "DJ, play Sisifia, oh Sisifia," and you are expecting dance moves in this country, how are you going to win an election? People are not voting for the Asa candidates, excuse me to say. People are voting for somebody who's going to
I think you should be a bit more respectful. Hold for me, Malik.
Not to come and dance.
Malik, hold on.
Yes.
All contenders from time to time will dance a bit, show some moves, but let's be a bit more respectful.
Not at this.
Let's be a bit more respectful to the candidate.
I haven't insulted anyone. No. You see. Let me come with the greatest of
when
respect.
you say all you know is to come and dance.
I said he came and danced. Is he did he or did he not? Is that a fact or not? He came and said, "Mon fasti and mame." Is that a fact or not? He said, "Odome de ka ne bema." Is that a fact or not?
He said that.
That was Baumia's favorite song. Odome de ka ne bema. Yeah, Odome de ka ne bema.
So Nana Komia makes mention of the fact that per their internal research, all the way from February of this year, they knew that President Mahama was likely, in fact, would win the elections. Yes. But certain things happened. Of course, they also, as a party, they put in place mechanisms to counter that.
Yeah, they brought PR reports.
And you can give them credit for doing that. But let me ask you, in terms of the elections, you mentioned Dome Kwabenya, that Eleklima Kurugu had won and all of that. But that is being contested. In fact, there are 4 constituencies where, yes, including there's the Okankwe area. Yes, Dome Kwabenya is being contested. If you check, you would find out. It's one of the 4. And then there are those other areas which were being collated, including in Sawam Edwajiri, Frankanodompre, which were being collated at the Tesano Police Training School. There has been some cessation there. I don't know what your reaction is, because when it comes to the CI, governing the work of the Electoral Commission, it is clear about what should happen when an election takes place and there's a contest.
Absolutely.
The person goes to the High Court.
I was just going to read that.
But barring CI 41, the Electoral Commission, in defense of its action to recollate, has said that the circumstances are different. They are not the same as in previous instances. Here, in some instances, people were literally under duress to declare, electoral officials or election officials, to declare results in certain places, and that some of those circumstances nullify the results, which justify recollation. Your take?
Who ascertains or who finally agrees that, who determines whether someone was under duress or not? Who determines that? The court. So if you give your side of the story that I was under duress, we don't just agree to that. We don't just come into terms with the fact that because you said you were under duress, it meant that you were under duress. The court determines whether someone was under duress or was under undue influence. And so it still rests at the doorsteps of the court. So the gentleman's side does not determine whether someone was under duress or not. I saw a write-up from Tema Central where the EC officer, finally fingered myself, the Honorable Dafia Makpo, Hannah Bisiu, and even the candidate, Ebi Bright, and said we had forced him to declare the results. Meanwhile, the one who even signed under that piece was not the one who declared the results. It was another EC officer, another returning officer there who declared the results. Yet another person now writes and says they forced me. Forced who? Were you the one who declared the results? So the only institution that determines whether someone was under duress or was under undue influence is the court, because we also have laid claims that some of those returning officers were bribed. For example, the Tema Central returning officer, he's called Ufosuin, I stand to be corrected, I've forgotten the name. We are saying that he was bribed because on a number of...
Who was bribed? Was he an agent on your side?
No, he was the EC's returning officer.
Oh, I see.
Yes, I just wanted to get his name.
And you say he was bribed. You have evidence to that effect?
When we get to court, would...
No, but do you... I'm only asking you, do you have evidence
That is why I am saying that...
Because you're saying it now, the person is not here to defend himself.
I am saying...
I have to be fair to him.
You are not listening to me. I said he claims he was under duress. We are also claiming he was bribed. So the right institution to determine that is the court.
Yes, but
as simple as that.
But in making the claim, I'm merely asking.
Absolutely.
So if you go to court,
yes,
you have the evidence to prove that he was bribed.
Yes, because there were a number of instances where he even left his decks at the same time with Titus Glover, and we lodged complaints to the police commander that look, you are collating results. All of a sudden, you leave the scene. Titus Glover leaves. You come back at the same time. At every point, you leave again. And these were reports made to the district commander. And that was why we said...
So that is the proof you have?
That's one of the proofs. That's why we said we could not agree to his declaration. And then the EC official came and declared the results in our favor. Then you say you're under duress. If you're under duress, go to court. Go and substantiate your claims. Because if we want to go by what the EC has said, and that is why I'm saying that you can't use a different cane for Kojo and use a different cane for Techi. Use same cane. The EC in 2020 told us that elections are won at the polling station. Once collation is done, once the declaration is done, if you don't agree, go to court. My brother, is that not what they told us? One of the very famous slogans of the MPP is go to court, go to court. Why are they running away from the court today? Mr. Afenyo Markin is crying all around, saying that people should recollate results. Mr. Afenyo Markin, you are a lawyer, go to court. They are crying helter-skelter. They won't agree to coalition. The declaration has been done. If you don't agree, go to court.
It's interesting how, with a change of power, the rhetoric has changed. First, it was the MPP telling you go to court.
Yes.
Now you are telling them go to court.
We've learned from them.
Hey, politics.
No, we've learned from them.
You've learned from them?
Yes, we've learned from them. I mean, now, because in 2020, when we didn't agree, they told us to go to court. We went to court. So we had learned. Now is their turn. They should go to court. They should walk the talk. Let us see them do it. When they advised us in 2020, we did it. Now they should do it. They should go to court. I mean, in 2020, anytime we had cases in this economy and they wanted to speak, they say go to court. Even when there were clear irregularities in it, they say go to court. Now it is their turn. Please, they are the masters of going to court. They should go to court. So that we have peace in this country. Look, the Tesano Police Training Center, I understand the IGP even got furious and said we couldn't be. People are training people. Then you go and hide in a cubicle and say you are doing recollation. Where have you ever heard of recollation?
Wait, as far as I saw, there were open spaces where they were supposed to do the recollation. Who was hiding in a cubicle?
Which of my words, which of my phrases are you challenging?
Doing the recollation.
Which of my phrases are you challenging? The cubicle.
Because I said they hid in fact, our reporter was there. There was an open space where everybody could.
Because I said they hid in a cubicle.
Well, a cubicle suggests there's an enclosure and it's closed. So
they were recollating the park, but it was illegal. Recollating the park is illegal.
All right.
So if they don't agree, they should
let's talk about this a bit about vigilance, right?
That's right.
Your men and women were pretty vigilant on the day, but some also feel some of the excesses we saw on the back of the electoral win was on the back of this purported vigilance. And you, for example, I've seen a number of your posts where you're saying, hey, 5,000 people should drop here. I'm going to this area. Or we hear there's something going on at the Tessanor police training and we are heading there. Some feel that kind of rhetoric. While you may be eager to defend what is rightfully yours, may be whipping up sentiments and letting people spiral out of control. How do you react to that?
Can you show me a single post of mine where I said 5,000 people should?
I saw something like that. If it's not exactly 5,000, it's fine.
I said 5K men.
5,000 men.
I didn't say 5,000, please.
5K what?
We spoke a lot in terms that people would not
So
understand.
5K what?
So like, hold on, like we said, activate all body cameras. People started looking on our agents to see cameras all around them. No, we spoke in coded language.
Oh, I
like
see.
we said, cock and hold. People were scared. People said, what is happening?
Is it a gun?
No, that's right. But we spoke, the military speaks in terms. So the two military...
But you're not a military officer.
No, I'm only using an example.
Okay.
But two people could sit here and speak on a go term and say, over, copy it. What does copied mean? What are you copying? But that's a term. You get my point. So what
was the code there? 5K.
So at the point we said move 20 meters close, 50 meters activate, stand by, stand guard. People did not understand. The digital people got confused, especially when we said activate all body cameras. The digital people were like, hey. But you know, these were terms. So when I said 5K men, jack up, we know what we are talking about. And
so
those,
what were you talking about?
I can't expose my plan here because there are some of these terms we'll use in 2028 again.
No, listen.
I can't.
Malik.
We are not doing a plan search.
Malik,
we're not doing a strategy.
Help me here.
Yes.
You're not exposing a strategy.
Yes.
What I'm saying is, there is the basic understanding of words.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And there is also coded language.
Absolutely.
What could be,
and I'm
like
saying
you
we
said.
Use coded language.
Right.
Yes.
You're trying to say that when you put up that post about 5K men, this and that.
The 5K men, jack up.
It did not mean 5,000 people should descend on a... No. Just let me finish.
Yes.
It did not mean 5,000 men should descend on a specific location and do anything. That's what you're saying.
If you want me to activate it in your studio, I can do that right now. Let me activate 5K men, join news, and you see what will happen. But if you don't see 5,000 men here, it's coded language. I can do it. Let me write on my Facebook post. 5K
please
men,
don't activate anything.
5K men advance to join news.
All right.
They are all coded languages we use. Then we confused a lot of people. You know, people were attacking me.
All right, but at least it's good to know that you didn't mean you wanted 5,000 people.
At the point, the vice chairman of the
those.
MPP even said his people should go and bring guns because I said 5K men. They said they should shoot Basintale. I said, hey, because I said 5K men, then when I get to 20K men, you will run away from this country. You know, it didn't mean violence. We are in power. We are here to take over power, but we've won the election.
Right.
There's no need we fight and they state. I mean, Ghana is a peaceful country.
Right.
I'm a very peaceful person. And I'm a young man. I want to grow and meet this country in safe hands. The only thing I did was to ensure that at this point where this country was in a crossroads, we needed a nation builder like John Dramani Mahama to take us out of the woods because we had to take two decisions. One, to crash the economy, and two, to reset the economy. Ghanaians chose to reset the economy. So all we've got to do is to get to work, get to action, reset the economy and put the economy back on track.
All right, thank you. Thank you for those points.
I mean, the economy.
Resetting the economy, I'll get to that because, you know, Nana Ohenento actually made mention of the fact that if the NPP had been retained, it could have meant disaster. It could have spelled disaster for the country.
Terrible.
I have spoken to you already about the incident of looting a bit of it, but how much control have you brought that under? And I was really, you know, saddened when you remember the OT region incident with the 3 priests.
Yeah.
Some people, the rhetoric that they were not in. Which person is going to a location like that and will be in a castle?
Yeah.
You get it. That was heavy-handed. That was criminal. And while they were trying to safeguard state property, I mean, you don't take the law into your own hands. So what is just give me a quick response to these actions and what further action the NDC will take on?
Oh, the NDC is looking into it. I mean, President Mahama is a peace-loving man. Our national chairman, Johnson Asiedu Ketia, is a peace-loving man. And they have taken pragmatic steps. To an extent, I'm aware of the fact that, I mean, they have interrogated the regional chairman at the OT region, and then I've asked him to delve deep into the matter, working hand in hand with the security agencies So we bring that matter.
Your leadership has interacted with the priests and the Catholic bishops.
That I cannot confirm. That I can confirm. But I can confirm.
Well, that we've heard.
Yes, we've spoken to the regional chairman, and the party has taken steps. You know, look, put everything aside. If it's true, if we get to a conclusion that it was true that these were Catholic priests and all of that, we need to ask for forgiveness. I mean, we are human beings. You cannot beat a reverend father who prays for the state. And maybe all these people prayed for John Mahama to even come into.
And they were actually working.
That's the point. So
for the state. Out of their pockets.
That's the point.
So to beat them.
So that's that's why I say that.
Look,
we are looking into it. I mean, if it's really true, they were reverend fathers and all. Please, let's try and.
It's not if it's really true. They were. They are.
So let's try and
let's move from there. But quick one on the elections. Now you've won. You've won the election. It's interesting how in declaring the results, the EC chair ended. It is finished. Jesus-like. And there was also the acceptance by Dr. Bawumia. It's never happened for someone to accept so quickly. Some have said that in fact, Sami Jemfi posted that it was class statesmanliness or statesmanship. Do you agree with him? And then let's quickly talk about the EC chair and how she's conducted
the truth of the matter is that Dr. Bawumia had no choice. Looking at the results,
he could have held on till the EC declared.
Hold on to what? To that 41%.
He could have held on.
What are you going to do with 41%?
No, but he could have decided not to admit until officially, because there was no official communication
from the EC. And I'm saying that hold on to 41% and do what with it in your house. What do you do with 41%? You are trailing by 4 million votes. We are at 6 million. What are you going to do with 4 million votes? Tell me.
He was trailing by 2 million votes.
2 million, sorry, I beg your pardon. He had in his hands 4 million votes. What was he going to do with 4 million? Your opponent was at 6 million. So if you keep holding on, I'm holding on. What are you holding on to?
But at least you can give him some credit.
President Mahama had conceded defeat in 2016. Look, in 2016, the tensions in this country. In 2024, I beg your pardon, we didn't even have such tensions. 2016 was a tough one. And let me confess, look, a lot of people told President Mahama, don't throw in the towel. The man came out and then said, look, I love Ghana. I'll throw in the towel. Let peace prevail. As for 2024, this one, we beat them well. As Andy can say, this one was a disaster. But in 2016, there was a head-on. It was a head-on till the last minute. So finally, President Mahama gave up. And in 2016, remember, President Mahama was president, not vice president. Bawumia is vice president. He says he's not in charge. So if you are not in charge, what are you even holding on to? So in the first place, there was no reason why he was going to hold on to results. And in this election, the results came in so fast, especially from our quotas. And 21 gun salutes to Dr. Omane Boama and the election team. They did absolutely well, fantastic. Because within 2-3 hours after the election, we started getting our results. And we knew we were in a comfortable lead. You understand? In fact, this one was a relaxing lead. So there was nothing Dr. Bawumia would have held on to. Maybe if he wanted to hold on to something, he would have held on to 41%, and that would have taken him nowhere. He considered defeat because he ought to have done so, and looking at the results, in fact, if I were him, I would advise myself not to worry myself if he's coming back again. Because 1.6 million, almost 2 million.
Well, from what we hear, they may be lacing their boots.
Yeah, but it's good if he comes back. If he comes back, it's good for us. You know, in 2024, we told them it was good for us. My boss, lawyer Sami Jemfi, he sat in this studio and said he's happy with the decision. I said it. I said I was happy with Dr. Bawumia.
In fact, I remember, I've forgotten whether it was Kofi Adams or somebody, but the person said that the president-elect had intentionally said something that would spur the MPP to choose Dr. Bawumia, and that because they found him to be the weakest link.
We thought. In fact,
so it was your strategy.
It was a strategy. And the first day, immediately they voted into office Dr. Bawumia as their flag bearer. All we said was, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. The MPP said, oh, this was not going to work. You people were scared of him. We said, we are scared of him. We helped you bring him into office. In fact, if I had money by then, I would have supported Dr. Bawumia to win their primaries. I would have done it. I would have sold my motorbike and then given it all to him. Because I would have sold my bike and given it to him because we needed him in office. So when he won, we said, oh, so if they want to bring him back, all our sit here and say is, Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah. He should come back again. When he comes back,
the EC boss,
with 2 million for him.
She's done her work. She says it is finished on the back of that declaration, there are those members of your party who have not been satisfied with her work, but she's there and she's doing her work. She's conducted elections. It has ended in peace. As some would say, observers, free, fair, transparent elections. There were a lot of castigations leveled against her. How do you feel now that we are at this point?
Well, it is finished. My comment on her. It is finished.
What is finished?
What did she mean by it was finished? Whatever she meant is what I meant. It is finished.
Well, I don't know what she meant, but you are sitting here. I could ask what you mean.
That's my only comment. It is finished.
It is finished?
It's finished. Wallahi.
You had to add the wallahi to
Yeah,
it.
it's finished.
No, that now gets me. It is finished, and then you add wallahi.
Yeah, it's finished. Wallahi. That's my only comment to her. She said it's finished.
You are not R2Bs. Wallahi.
She said it's finished. I say it is finished. Wallahi.
Okay. Okay. Should I read any deeper meaning into that?
Let's move on to the next question. I'm saying it's finished. Wallahi.
Okay, so let me ask you a blunt question. Is EC boss Charlotte Osei going to be retained?
It's finished.
It is finished?
Yes.
Asem Nasa?
It's finished.
Okay. Let's talk about Oral, Operation Recover or Loot. Why I bring it up is this morning we activated the phone lines briefly, and some people called and said, listen, if there are people who have looted state resources, call them, bring them to book. And we don't just want jail terms. We want recovery of money
100%.
for the state to use it to develop Ghana. You've spoken about this oral, and some people seem to see it as something that will be activated as a witch hunt. What does oral mean?
Oral means holding people accountable. People must be accountable for their actions and inactions. People must be accountable for state property. People must be accountable for state resources that were put in and trusted in their hands. And so oral is an operation that's going to return and recover all the loot. We felt that a lot of money has gone down the drains. You sit in your studio and there's no week you don't speak about corruption, because corruption is a canker we are all fighting. And people think that, look, if you have looted from the state, you need to return the money. That is why for the first time in the history of this country, I am suggesting that we have what we call oral projects. People must see what we've used the recovered funds to do. So we don't just recover and put in consolidated fund. We should recover and build a school. We should recover and build a hospital. So people appreciate what corruption has been doing to us. Imagine we recover $58 million from the National Cathedral project. You know what $58 million can do? It can build about 20 schools. It can build 5 hospitals. It can construct roads in this country. And if you do that and you name them oral projects, the NDC will stay in power forever. Trust me. The people of this country need accountability. Look, my brother, Ghanaians don't demand so much. We are not saying that every morning the government should give us fried rice and chicken. We are not saying every morning the government should give us a bottle of whiskey. We are not saying every morning the government should give us a bottle of Coke. All we are saying is that do for us what we cannot do for ourselves. We cannot construct a road for ourselves. Construct the road for us. We can't build a hospital for ourselves. Build a hospital for us. Give us good health care. Give us good access to education.
Right.
That's all we are asking for. You as media men, Joy News, you've never told government come and pay our workers for us. All you are saying is that reduce our tariffs so we could pay electricity bills, reduce our taxes so we could clear our taxes, and then when we pay our workers, the inflation should be down so our workers' salary can survive them. Look, today, if you are working in this country, truth be told, and then they pay you 3,000. 3,000 is good money, but you can't do a lot with it because there's inflation. If you buy fuel in your car, within 2 weeks it's done. That's why a lot of times, a lot of these your camera crew and the rest, they are engaging in what we call jobs. They only come to work because they have to come. When you pay them a salary, goes down the drains. Joy News is doing well. You are paying your workers well. But at the end of the day, there's inflation. There's hyperinflation. So if you take 3,000 Ghana cedis to the market, it buys nothing. You come back home with nothing. And that's what we're asking government to do for us. Reduce inflation, stabilize the dollar, stabilize the economy, and that alone is going to create a lot of jobs.
Before you take leave of us, and this has to be brief, there's a return to Parliament today. What can we expect in Parliament? And then again, you have the 120-day social contract.
100%.
Just tell us briefly how that will be activated, when it will be activated, what it means for
This is the first time in history a political party is breaking their manifesto down into bits. So we have the 120-day contract, we have the youth manifesto, we have the women's manifesto, we have the general manifesto. The 120-day contract are things we are going to do in the immediate So at least it salvages the immediate situation. At least the economy, we all agree, is about collapsing. The 120-day contract is going to hold it up and hold Ghanaians up. So, for example, we're going to implement the no-fee stress. All people who are going to go to level 100 from next year are not going to pay their level 100 fees. That alone is going to take a huge burden off the Ghanaian parent, so they could adjust themselves and balance themselves for the journey ahead. Number two, we're going to take away all obnoxious taxes. Like the e-levy is going to go off our books.
And you're not going to bring in other taxes from the back door?
The NDC has never done that. We've never taken away taxes and brought things through the back door. It's the MPP that does that. They take 110 and they bring another. They took away the toll levy and they brought e-levy. That's how wicked they can be. But we want to take away e-levy. We are taking away the 10% bed tax. We are taking away the emission levy. We are taking away the COVID levy. All these things are going to be done within 120 days. And then President Mahama seeks to run the leadest government in the history of the Republic by running with 16 ministers. And he says he's going to do that within 2 weeks. That is something the Ghanaian people are also waiting for. Okay. National Apprenticeship Program will be put to kickstart, and the framework for the 24-hour economy is going to come into full force.
All right. So we'll have more time to deliberate on that. In Parliament today, what can we expect? I hope there will be no wrangling about who is sitting where.
In Parliament?
Yes.
When you are a minority, you are going to fight with
They are the minority.
Minority.
They are the minority.
Micro.
There's no micro
I am even lobbying.
In the terminology.
I'm even speaking to my leadership and my bosses that, look, we can run a 3-shift system.
I know, I see you doing it. Yes.
Yeah, we can do that. I'm also, we are looking at that. We can have half MPs, 90 going in the morning and 90 coming in the evening. We can do that in Parliament. I mean,
you have so many.
We have so many options. Yes.
That you can do a shift system with your MPs.
That's
what you're saying.
Ghanaians have given the NDC honor. Ghanaians have given us power. We are grateful to them. When the MPP were saying we will not hand over power to you, I told Brian Achampo, I said, no political party hands over power. On the 7th of December, power goes back to the hands of the Ghanaian people. And Ghanaians give it to one person. That's why they go to the polls to decide. Okay. So when you were saying you hand over power, I said, which power are you talking about? On the 7th, it leaves your hand. Ghanaians have given us power. Look, let me take this opportunity to thank all Ghanaian youth, to thank all Ghanaians who have bestowed power in the hands of the MPP. I can assure them that the John Mahama I know is a loving man. The John Mahama I know is a brilliant man. He's an intelligent man. He's a sharp man. He's a nation builder. He cares for the country. And he will not fly a private jet at £14,000 an hour. He will never do that. God forbid.
Thank you, Malik.
He will develop this country.
Basintale.
He will move us to grace. He will take us to the promised land. Right. And I want you to bring me here again after 4 years. It's 4-year tenure. And trust me, I will be doing the talking. You will be doing the
Malik Basintale is a Deputy Communications National Communications Officer, Deputy National Communications Officer of the National Democratic Congress. He joined me this morning for a discussion. Malik, Nagodi. Thanks for joining the conversation.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Do stay with me, though. We'll be right back. When we return from the break, Isaac Ajay-Mensah is MP-elect for the Wasta East constituency. He's also the ranking member on the Committee on Roads and Transport. But before the break, let me just tell you about Medicas Hospital, a modern healthcare facility built with your recovery in mind. They have spacious wards built with your family in mind, a warm and caring pediatric unit built with your children in mind. And to boot, they have assembled some of the brightest minds in medicine, led by Dr. Yosafo, the drive-time doctor, to serve you. Here's what they offer. General medical services, as well as specialist services in plastic surgery, obstetrics, gynecology, child health, urology, psychiatry, and eye care. Additionally, they also have on offer a comprehensive medical diagnostic service encompassing endoscopy, medical laboratory services, x-rays, and scans. And they have a 24-hour pharmacy, ensuring you'll always receive efficacious, safe, and affordable medicine. They also bring into you the most powerful medicine of all, simple human kindness and empathy. And they pride themselves on attaining the highest standards. Now, they also accept all forms of payment, including from private health insurance companies. Where do you find them? At number 10 Kinso Street, near the Ashaleboche School Junction. You can reach them on 0501 477 340, 0501 477 340. On social media at Medicas GH. Medicas Hospital, a place of healing. Now, we hope to bring you more joy when we return from the break. You want to stay for that conversation for the MP-elect for Wasa East constituency. We'll be right back. On the AM show. Now, our next conversation will help us delve into an overview of Ghana's roads and the transport sector. What is missing? Where's the missing link? Well, we engaged the ranking member on the Roads and Transport Committee on the way forward. He is the MP-elect and Member of Parliament, actually, for Wassa East constituency, Isaac Ejay-Mensah. He joins me in the studio. Good morning.
Good morning, sir. Thanks for having me.
You are decked in all white. I see you're in a celebratory mood.
Of course, yes. So thankful to the people of Ghana and, of course, to God. So I have to be in the white.
I see. This would be your fourth term. The 9th Parliament would be your fourth term in Parliament.
Exactly so.
You've been there and you've done that. But let's just talk about the journey. Even before we get to your party, the journey to become a Member of Parliament. Why did you want to get into Parliament?
Thank you so very much.
In 2013?
Thank you so very much. If you allow me, let me thank the good people of Wassa East and, of course, my party, NDC, and the First Family for allowing me the opportunity to come here in the first place as a Member of Parliament. And so I'm so thankful. And, of course, I want to greet you also for the first time that I'm coming to your show. So, and your crew, of course, and our cherished viewers. Yes, back to the point of the question that why. I have the passion for public service.
Okay.
And as at the time that I came into politics, active politics, I was, in the mines. I was in the multinational companies and the mining company. I was HR director for close to 20 years. And so I resigned to public service. I'd earlier on been a presiding member of Wassa East Assembly. And so the issue of development, rural development, my people's development was a factor. And so I resigned and joined politics. They voted for me massively. And I was so fortunate that President Mahama appointed me as a Deputy Minister for Roads and Highways. And so we did perform. And throughout a period of 4 years, where I had 2 ministers coming through, I'd always been there doing the good job. And I'm satisfied with the good job that I did in the ministry. So I'm happy to be allowed the opportunity again to come into the third term, going to the 4th term. So I'm great, I'm happy, and I'm thankful.
How do you feel entering your 4th term and the people of Wassa East? Do you feel they have been served?
Of course.
And served well?
They have been served during my period, and the peak of the service was during the 2013-2016 period. Because that is where you could see the infrastructure development flopping through. The issue of roads construction, the issue of rural electrification, the issue of education, agric and so on, massive. In the history of Wassa East. That was the peak that we witnessed that. Right after that, from 2017, many of the good projects, particularly the road sector projects, were abandoned. And even the rural electrification.
Were abandoned by whom?
Abandoned by this government for 8 years.
Are you saying there was no road infrastructure work done in Wassa East over the last 8 years?
As far as I'm concerned, no.
None?
None.
Not even one?
No. I need somebody to tell me which of the roads that was constructed by this government. We had projects, we had roads in the process where contractors were on these roads, but these projects were terminated. I want to talk about Domama Ponsasu Road, Cocoa Road, to be tired. They were terminated. The Domama, Mfantini Mbetre to Tosin Road, that connects us to Trifo, they were, terminated. And many more. The challenge is that we also never maintained them. Even those ones that was constructed by President Mahama, the Junasi Kuchosa Tobiasi Road is in a very deplorable state. The Tekud Dabuasi Road is just messy. So I am pained because if you examine the extent of investment in Wassa East, the roads alone that are being left to this deplorable state is worrying. But the hope is that, it will pick up again. And it's among many of the constituencies in the country and in the region, most of the projects were abandoned, particularly cocoa roads.
Now, this administration has had year of roads, one, at least two. I don't know, it's about 3 of such year of roads. And they've touted, it has been touted that they've done much more than any other administration since Nkrumah has done in terms of road, work, expansion, and all the other components, about 10,000 kilometers of roads. Since you are especially known in that sector, do you dispute this?
I do. And
why?
Consistently I've disputed that. And I do that with evidence. You see, the road sector is very technical and professional. You just cannot come in and change numbers. The issue is that if you check through the fourth republic, President Rawlings, late Rawlings, President Kufuor, President Mills, President Mahama, the least performing president as far as road construction is concerned is President Akufo-Addo. And as I speak to you today, we have in his credit 6,977 kilometers of roads constructed, sealed.
By President Akufo-Addo?
Akufo-Addo.
6,000 what?
6,977 kilometers of roads for urban, feeder, and highways. These records are there, and we get this from the budget statement. So we are going to see the full extent of his performance in the first quarter of 2025. That will be very clear. You know what, President Mahama, as at the time that President Mahama was exiting office, he had constructed 8,118 kilometers of road, just the term, 4 years. President, Kufuor, after Mills was, he never completed his term, and a little over 5,000 kilometers was constructed by him just for that period. President Kufuor in his 2 terms constructed close to 14,000, and of course the largest of it all, President Rawlings, close to 19,000, 18,900 and something. So if you compare President Akufo-Addo with all this, he stands the least. And so the issue that he has performed more than any other government system, Nkrumah, is unfounded. And we don't have any evidence. He's talking about performing over 10,000 kilometers. But when we went to I challenged that. In Parliament, I did challenge that. And I also publicly have challenged the assertion. And I've requested for evidence. When they brought the details, you know what they said? They said yet to be validated. And most of them are projections. And you see, in road sector...
So you're saying the 10,000 plus kilometers of roads that we're talking about included
projections? It's not validated. Yes. And I challenge them now. In Parliament, I did challenge. Bring the evidence. When they brought the details, what they said, and you see, these professionals are smart. Because they were forced to churn in, numbers that cannot be verified, they indicated, Axeris, that they are yet to be validated and projected. There are projections. So I don't take it very serious. But you see, the only way you can know the extent of performance is conducting the road condition survey. That has not been done since 2017. So what is the proof that indeed you have performed to that extent? So the verifiable, the non-projected or the sealed, inventorized data, inventorized details on road construction is what I told you. You can get all this in the budget statement.
I'm curious about these because then it creates confusion in the minds of people. This was done, was it not done? We've had those problems with our developmental issues. Plus, development is a continuum. It's a chain where maybe you run a baton race, a lap. You run your lap. If we decide that someone else must come and continue the lap, then you hand over, and that person continues from where you left off.
Exactly.
But in this instance, whether it's the National Development Planning Commission or you as an MP or me as a media person, there is confusion. How do you think moving forward we can streamline these to ensure that we know, look, this is what we've done within the last 4 years, 8 years. This is where we are, and this is where we are continuing from. What do we have to do?
I think the regime, the next state of President Mahama will fix that. In resetting the state, in resetting Ghana, all these things will be made clear. And you see, there's a commitment by President Mahama, the president-elect, that all projects will be continued or will make sure that execution takes place in there. When this is done, then it's clear. But you know what? How do we know the extent of performance? Now the Transition Commission, the committee, is sitting. We want to go into the details. For instance, with particular reference to roads. What is the state of our roads today? They need to provide us the condition of our roads in terms of good, in terms of poor, in terms of fair. There's a standard. In the road industry, there are standards. International Road Federation has that clear. So you need to provide those details.
Yeah, but you have to ask for those details, and they'll give them to you.
We are going to ask, yes. And so we, now the committee is sitting. There is this, the infrastructure committee chaired by Honorable Haruna Idrisu, and the subcommittees of roads. I'm the co-chair of the Roads and Transport Committee, and we have the men in there. So we just want to go through the details and query and question. So we want to know the condition of our state, the state of our roads. So you got to know what is the inventorized state, inventorized data of roads. I mean the network. You get to know that. What is the state in terms of maintenance? Our challenge with this government is the neglect of maintenance. The maintenance regime has collapsed. The maintenance regime is nothing to talk home about. What are you talking about maintenance? The periodic maintenance and routine maintenance. Basic, boss. The issue is that periodic maintenance is that one that you get into the details of it, the asphalt overlay and many more. But more importantly, the basic and routine. The pothole patching, the slashing of the roads and many more. These are basic. You don't need to spend so much money, but it's been neglected. And there's the road fund. Road fund was set up basically for the maintenance of our roads. So the question is that why haven't you used that money for that? And you remember, we have cheap money, the toll roads, and the tolls have been abandoned. And
I was just about to get into that.
It's worrying.
What's going to be the approach with tolls?
Of course, yes. Everybody knows that it was a very bad decision. We talked about it, that, for this outgoing governor, to scrap the toll system was the most, irresponsible decision or policy that they did. We talked about it. Parliament, we spoke about it. The Speaker of Parliament requested the minister even to withdraw. He did not. So
but there was also talk on the back of the e-levy, those things were scrapped, claims were made. But there's also been talk, it's been reinstated in a way, because they say that new roads will be tolled and all of that. You are aware of that?
Yeah, but it's not reinstated. The toll regime is collapsed, is scrapped, is abandoned, and is no longer there. The toll booths are all abandoned and being infested with rats and snakes and so on. You remember there was a time that the minister said we're going to use those facilities for toilets and all those urinal, especially in the middle of the road. They never.
Later he came back and said.
Oh, he probably was joking, yeah. Yes. But I take serious. You can't have a minister coming to just joke that we are going to use those booths for that sort of stuff. But the point is that it will come back again. They have never reinstated. There is that intention of bringing it back. They have not followed the process. And President Mahama's administration, the president-elect's administration, is going to reset the economy. It's going to reset the country. And in resetting the system, the toll booth will be brought back again. And you are talking about the e-tolling, electronic tolling. All over the world, even in almighty USA, there's tolling. So why would this government, I can't fathom, why would this government abolish it? You're paying for road maintenance every day. You have a vehicle. So fuel levy and all those, the Burkina Bay, the Malians, they are using our stretch free. And they are those people who are waiting and so on. It's only Ghana, within the sub-region, it's only Ghana that is not tolling our roads. And I think that is the most ingenious, move by this government, hopefully.
Did you say ingenious or disingenuous?
Disingenuous, the most disingenuous, right. Exactly. So I'm hopeful, I'm thankful, and I think, and I want to believe that all this toll thing, that's mess up in the road sector, the non-maintenance thing will all be over.
Let me ask you specifically, what can we expect from the incoming administration when it comes to roads? You've made mention of continuing projects, yes. Yeah. And there's also been talk about not starting too many new projects, and you want to complete those that are already in existence. But what is going to be, because sometimes the devil is in the detail, what is going to be the technical, the tactical approach to road construction in Ghana? There are so many communities with terrible roads. And I'm not even sometimes talking about outside. We leave the rural areas. Sometimes we act like Ghana is Accra. But even if you look here in Accra, go to Ghana South, go to Ghana East, you go to certain places and you ask yourself, okay, is this still part of the capital? You go to Ablekuma and other places. It's tricky. What is the plan for our roads? And after that, we'll target Cocoa Road specifically. But for now, the general roads that we...
Thank you. So you got a picture right. So if everyone, the villagers, the chiefs, we are all complaining that we have bad roads. The issue is maintenance. You are talking about basic grading, particularly in the rural areas. Grade them. These guys, these villages are not qualified for asphalt roads. You need to have that robust maintenance program going in place. And that is the routine maintenance we're talking about. So technically, the maintenance regime will be revamped, will be enhanced, will be brought back again.
How?
Because we have the road fund scheme there. The road fund is that where we have that chunk of money, and close to 4 billion cedis is accruing every year. So it is meant for the maintenance of our roads in terms of periodic, routine, and so on. So more attention will be paid, to maintenance of our roads. So technically, when we have our roads maintenance regime brought back on track, it gives hope to people. You believe with me, or you trust me, or we can agree together, that people are not calling for asphalt overlay, asphalt roads. All they need is that maintain their roads. If you need to pothole patch them, do it. If you need to grade it, do it. If there is the need for you to add some asphalt, do it. That is what has been neglected, and that is why we are facing all this problem. So the President Mahama's administration will ensure that sanity, the system is sanitized. The road maintenance regime will be brought to back again. During the President Mahama's period, that was the time that we saw sanity in the road sector. Rural roads were maintained, urban roads were maintained, highways were maintained. Why there was the need for periodic maintenance. Periodic maintenance is that we talk about the bituminizing of the roads, the asphalt overlaying, and many more. And the routine maintenance is the grass control, the pothole patching, and so on. So when the maintenance system is brought to speed, we will see a significant improvement in our road network. We have this equivalent tax of continuing with the roads that have been started. Can you imagine? Virtually every place in this country have been excavated. The network have all gone, given on contract. That is adding up to the challenge, because when you award the road, the contractor gets to the road, he excavates, he brings a certificate, you're not paying, he abandons the road. And you don't have money. There is no funding, there is no budget for that. All over.
So how are you going to find the money? You spoke about the fund, but what if you get there and find out that what you think is there is not there?
No, but basically, I'm not assure Ghanaians. The road fund alone brings so much for the maintenance. You see, we are not going to carry ourselves immediately with the big projects. Maintain them, the maintenance, the project maintenance, routine maintenance. And the hope is that, there's the road fund, the chunk of money in there for about 4 billion. So whatever that money has been sent to will be brought back. And
wherever it's been sent to will be brought back.
Yeah, the scheme, road fund, I'm told that is happening. And road fund projects are not being paid for. So the question is that, where is the money? I'm told it's been collateralized. It's been, it's been sent for whatever it is. But I think the system will be sanitized. So the hope is that...
What do you mean by the system will be sanitized?
It will be sanitized because the road fund will be made to function again.
Okay.
The road fund will be made to function again.
Let me ask you specifics. I used to work somewhere in the Pram area, so the Pram Dawenya stretch is one that I know, and it's pretty problematic for a lot of people. The traffic, the congestion, vehicular congestion and all that, different portions of the road and work being done and this and that, it takes people hours. It's excruciating using that stretch. Students going to school must wake up so early, they can't even sleep well, because if you do that, you miss out, you will not make it to school. Workers and all that, and fuel burning. What is the plan for that stretch? What is the plan for the Tema Motorway stretch, for example? I find it so worrying that we had a concrete road and we've patched with so many things, and when you're passing on that stretch, it's always, you can hear your tires going boom, boom.
Yeah.
And I also want us to look at our best roads and how we're going to work at them. For example, the N1 is one of the best roads we have,
of course,
in terms of quality. But you keep mentioning maintenance, maintenance, maintenance. I ask myself, what will we do to maintain some of our best stretches of road so that they don't deteriorate over time? These three, you can address them one by one. Pram Dawenya Stretch, Tema Motorway, N1, and other, A-class roads.
So let's pick the one by one. N1. N1, as you did say, is one of the best, finest roads that we have in this country. But if you have set fine roads and you don't maintain them, they'll go bad. You see that middle stretch where it's weedy, the grasses are taking over, it has to be maintained. You have to weed them and sanitize the environment. But you see, I was talking about the issue of the road fund. The road fund was established basically for the maintenance. So the N1 will be maintained, where it calls for, some overlay will be done, and that will fix it.
Okay.
I hope that answers the question. It's about maintenance. We are not maintaining our road.
So what you're basically saying is you will use the road fund appropriately.
Properly,
Okay.
yes, to get it fixed. Now the motorway, you know, it's been contracted. It's in 3 phases, but the first phase from Tama to the Kwashi Circle has been contracted out to Maripoma Company, one of the best and finest, you know, indigenous companies in this country. And so I think there's some work ongoing in there. We did budget for that, and I'm not sure whether the payments are going to properly. You know the financial challenges that we all face. We hope that when we take over, that will be it. And again, also the Damwenya stretch that falls within the whole Aflao road, that isn't it? And that was on contract. And I'm not too sure why we are in that state. It's supposed to be fixed by this time. And if it is not, it's going to be one of the albatross that we need to fix. Because if we don't fix it, going to hold, it falls part of the Abidjan-Lagos corridor. And about 50% of that stretch falls in Ghana. And that fits into it. So if you don't fix that stretch, we're not going to make any headway going to Togo and Lagos and so on. That is also going to be fixed.
All right. Just to conclude, cocoa routes, what is the plan to ensure that our cocoa production and transporting, you know, these beans to central areas is as smooth a process as possible? And then again, in terms of infrastructure, we've seen that sometimes governments would wait till elections are close and then they'll start with a lot of road projects like we've seen in recent times. Can you give us an assurance, the people of Ghana, that it will be evenly spread so that in the course of whatever, at least the 4 years that are coming, people will see work going on their roads without waiting for another election?
Yeah, thank you. You know, I think this is the assurance. And this
will be your final bit. So cocoa roads and then that one.
Thank you. So it fits into the manifesto of the NDC and in resetting Ghana. So for instance, that route what you're talking about, it will be properly, you know, it was spread over with the 16 regions. That will be done. And President Mahama has made it clearer, and it's clear again, that he starts immediately and he's going to work. So all those areas will not be, we won't wait till the end of the system. No, we have been in government before, and going forward, that will be fixed. Now, Cocoa Road, you know, the bane of the economy is cocoa, and the industry has collapsed. And virtually all roads in my area is a cocoa growing area, and all those cocoa groves have been abandoned. And no cocoa routes are ongoing. They are all, you know, terminated because we don't have the funding for that. We reset it. As soon as we come into the system, we're going to energize and sanitize the environment, and cocoa industry will rise again. And it can rise and it can grow again when the rules are fixed. And that is a commitment of President Mahama. And you know very well, during the tenure of President Mahama, within 2013, 2016, we experienced the top of roads in the country, rural roads, for instance, and that is the cocoa roads. We are going to sanitize that. We are aware of the decadence and the corruption. We're going to put sanity into it, and cocoa roads and cocoa industry will be revamped again.
Sometime in the future, if we have the opportunity of engaging again, we'll talk about the rail system. But that will be for another day. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. Isaac Ajay Mensah, he's Member of Parliament for Wassa East constituency. Of course, he's been there and he's been reinstated. He's been re-elected. He is also ranking member on the Committee on Roads and Transport. Before we take a breather and come back, Ghana, get ready for the biggest giveaway from Syntex Tank. Syntex is visiting 15 communities, giving them free water. And this is simply to say, thank you, Ghana, for making us #1. Now, did you know Syntex was the first to introduce double-layer tanks in Ghana? Did you also know that they were the first to come in so many colors and that they were the first to come out with inner white layers? So if it's not Syntex, forget about it. Now, if you're a community and you want to benefit from the Syntex free water giveaway, just log on to their social media handles at Syntex Ghana and nominate your community. The more you nominate, the better the chances of Syntex coming to that community. Remember, it's SINTEX. Syntex Tank. Don't be any tank, be tank. The correct tank, be Syntex Tank. Syntex Tank, a strong, a tough. We'll be right back with more action Tuesday. Welcome back. When was the last time you went to the MJ Grand Hotel? Oh, it was fantastic, right? But some of you I can hear you from here saying you've never been there. Well, I'm going to be telling you about that because we have joining us in the studio the operations manager, Cecilia Obeng, and David Boyson, the accountant, as well. Actually, Charles Yao Jagri, who is head of marketing. They are joining the conversation this morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
It's good to have you.
Thank you.
All right. So I'll start with you, Cecilia. Just tell us a bit about the MJ Grand Hotel. What have you been up to?
Okay, so my name is actually Cecilia Maupemagwemava.
Oh, my bad.
And I'm for marketing, events, and social media at MJ Grand Hotel. So MJ Grand Hotel is a 3-star hotel located at Abochiman Street at East Legon. We have 40 unique suites and standard rooms at a very affordable price.
Okay.
Yes, we have a restaurant service. We do outdoor catering. We have a pool. We have shuttle service. We have conference rooms that takes from 10 to a capacity of 200. Yes.
Okay, that's pretty interesting. Let me just do this very quickly. Hold for me. We also have our very own Kweku Asante in Parliament right now. I'm just going to break in quickly. Kweku, if you can hear me, what exactly is it shaping up like in Parliament this morning? Kweku Asante, if you can hear me, how is Parliament shaping up this morning? What's happening?
So proceedings is yet to begin. Benjamin Akapo, we expect that at 10 o'clock a.m. the Speaker of Parliament will gavel the House in session. That hasn't happened yet. If the camera pans a little bit to the chamber itself, and we are still sitting at the Accra International Conference Center where for the renovation currently going on in Parliament, this has become the makeshift chamber of Parliament. And so proceedings are yet to get underway. No member of Parliament has so far arrived to actually take his or her seat on either the NDC or NPP side. We understand this morning there will be some caucus meetings on the sides, particularly with regards to the NDC MPs who will be having some crucial meetings in terms of what exactly their ball game will be when they come to the chamber. We do not have any idea yet if they will insist to sit on the majority side as they have been doing during the last 2 recalls of the House. You will recall that during the last 2 sittings of Parliament, the NDC side took the majority side of the House, which prompted their NPP colleagues to say that because of that they are not going to come into the chamber, and then ultimately led to abrupt adjournment of proceedings. And so today we don't have any idea if that is exactly going to be the game plan of the NDC MPs. But during these caucus meetings that have been held, we'll get to understand what the strategy will be going for. The NPP MPs have also not shown up so far. They have a number of government business to lead in this transaction. There are more than $300 million worth of tax waivers. There is about $250 million loan that is on the table right now. There is a number of bills, including the very popular free SHS bill that the government side has been trying to get to lay on the floor of the House. So there are all those businesses. But the big business that Parliament will have to transact this particular meeting before they go on break will be the mini budget, the budget ahead of appropriation that will take care of the first 3 months of 2025. When John Dramani Mahama assumes office, it will take him about 3 months before he will put together his government and present his first budget. Before that, this government will have to present the budget in lieu of appropriation, the vote on account, that will take care of the first 3 months of the next year in terms of payments of salaries, payment of government obligations and other issues. All those matters will have to be dealt with before the new government will present its new budget with a new finance minister in 2025. That is what we are looking forward as the big item. You will recall that the NPP side did make the case that if the NDC MPs continue to hold the House on ransom, salaries will not be paid in January of 2025, January, February of March of 2025. That is the first quarter of the new year. And given that this political stalemate is ongoing still, it is left to be seen if the matters have all been resolved for this critical business to be taken. So, Benjamin, that is the situation now. It's just about 11 minutes to 10 o'clock a.m. That is the advertised time of sitting, 11 minutes to 10 o'clock a.m. that the sitting of Parliament is expected to start. It hasn't started yet. The Speaker of Parliament has not come in. Members of Parliament have not come in. It's an empty site. The technicians are still working their way around to try and sort out the sound system before their colleagues and the members of Parliament will actually come in and take their seats. And so the big issue having to do with the vote on account, the budget for 2025, the first quarter budget, is the main issue that will be dealt with, and that hasn't, indication have not been given. When the House starts sitting, we expect that there will be the presentation of a business statement. That business statement will give us an understanding of which business specifically the House is going to transact within this period. We don't expect Parliament to sit beyond the 24th, because 25th is a holiday and other things. MPs will have to go back to their constituencies and celebrate the festivities with their constituents, and then return on the midnight of 7th January to be sworn in. But of course, if there are issues that they have to deal with, for which reason they have to sit, they will perhaps have to do that. And so that is the situation here. No MP now, currently in the House. We expect that at 10 or 10:30, things will begin to shape up. More people will begin to fill up the chamber, and then perhaps the Speaker will walk in and gavel the House in session.
Well, Asante, thank you very much. Of course, that makeshift parliament from the Accra International Conference Center. Well, let's come back into the studio, and I'm taking you to the MJ Grand Hotel. Not literally, but you should get a taste. Charles, now, we've already been told rooms tend to about 200 of them. But why should your hotel, that is the MJ Grand, be the hotel of choice?
Thank you very much for the question. So yes, so here we at MJ Grand Hotel, we pride ourselves when it comes to the quality of service that we provide for our guests. We also provide excellent customer service experience. We make sure that we leave you, when you come to MJ Grand Hotel, you go with a lasting, customer experience that you'll never forget, and for which reason you would like to come back to MJ Grand Hotel. We make sure that we have special discounted corporate rates for all corporate organizations that come to host their conferences and meetings, what have you, in MJ Grand Hotel. These things make us unique. Customer service, the best customer service, value for money, and also discounted corporate rates for all our guests, and the quality of service.
Okay, where specifically are you located? Just reiterate that.
We are located on the Abuchima Street in East Legon, specifically.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. I know where you are, but for our viewers, I had to do that. Now, Cecilia, you've been around for some 14 years, this December,
yes,
right?
Please.
Tell us a bit about that. What have you been doing so far?
So far, as part of our 14 years anniversary, and then as part of the Christmas festivity, we are giving a 20% discount on our room rates.
20%?
Yes, 20%.
Wow, you're generous, too.
Very generous. And that's not just it. We are having a promotion on our pizza, where you buy one large pizza, and then we give you a pie for free. Meat pie, fish pie, any filling of your choice for free. Also, we are having a live band as part of our 14th anniversary. We are having a live band for our clients and all other corporate bodies on the 24th of December.
Okay.
So I hope you are coming.
I will pass through. I'll try to do that.
You have to.
I have to, huh?
You have to.
Let's see how we factor in that in the festive season. But Charles, what message do you have for your clients, your client base, people who have patronized MJ Grand over the years?
So to you, our special guests, we want to thank you for patronizing our services for the past 14 years. And as we are moving into the next year, the coming year, we want to promise you that you should expect something extraordinary, something supersonic that you'll never forget. So we are thanking them for how far they have patronized our services. And we also want to tell them that we have special things for them in the coming year.
All right. Now, after all has been said and done, those who may be excited would want to reach out and all that. How can they reach out? How can they reach MJ Grand Hotel?
Okay, so they can reach out to us on our social media platforms.
Okay.
At Facebook, we are MJ Grand Hotel.
MJ Grand Hotel,
yes.
Facebook.
Yes,
okay.
Please. Instagram, we are MJ_Grand Hotel Ghana.
Okay, Instagram, MJ_Grand Hotel Ghana.
Yes.
All right.
And then on TikTok, we are MJ Grand Hotel _Ghana.
Okay, that's TikTok.
Yes.
MJ Grand Hotel _Ghana. That's on TikTok.
Yes.
Okay.
And they can visit our website at www.mjgrandhotelghana.com.
Alternatively, they can call our front desk on 054-027-4463. They can also call on 027-129-0330. You'll reach us.
Okay. All right. Could you repeat it briefly for me?
Yeah, so the telephone number is our front desk. You can call 054-074463 and then 027-129-0330.
All right. Well, thank you very much for joining the conversation this morning. Before we knock off, before I acknowledge my guests, let me just tell you about Recycle Up Ghana. Recycle Up Ghana. And of course, it's happening at the ISA conference facility in Legon. That's the University of Ghana, Accra. And that is on the 17th day of December. That's tomorrow. ISA Conference Center in the University of Ghana. Recycle Up Ghana is the 10th anniversary summit. And of course, you can see the details there. The theme, Journey Towards Sustainability, Reflecting and Celebrating 10 Years of Progress. You want to be a part of that. We'll be having a conversation with them, God willing, tomorrow. But for now, let me acknowledge Cecilia Maupemo Agbemava, who joined the conversation. She's operations manager at MJ Grand Hotel, and Charles Yao Jagri, head of marketing. Well, all roads lead to the MJ Grand Hotel from here. Thank you for joining the conversation.
Thank you.
It's our pleasure.
All right.
Thank you.
My name is Benjamin Akakwo. It's been a pleasure coming your way, but I'm handing over to the crew of Joy News Desk. And of course, they will be coming to you with the news shortly. Do stay for that. Have a brilliant morning.